should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, how you doing today? Hey Bad Girl, Colleen, Anna, Sub Rosa, Jenny Jen, Rachel, Joy, Anna, Zahio, Indie Girl, Hobby Farmer, Anna, Sarah, Miss Kimmy, Courtney, Miss King of Anything, Cara, hello, Hazel Eyes, Shaboogies, Rubber Ramada, Queen Anne. Wow, there is a lot of people here. Thank you guys for being so supportive. You guys are awesome. Today we're going to talk about the immunity deal. We're going to start talking about that and see what we think. I think that she lied in the immunity deal. And let me reiterate, limited immunity. I do believe she lied. I don't think we got any more information than what we already had. And so, yeah, I would love to talk to you guys about it.
The division chief for the homicide unit.
I want to see what you guys think, what your thoughts and opinions are on this. Yes, please put a thumbs up if you don't mind. I will take, well, we can leave Mr. Bunny sniffing out the BS up because he's not going to cover up anything. And yeah, with that, we'll get started. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope your Christmas was absolutely wonderful. Hey, Cozy Constellations. Sorry if I missed you. Tiffany. Is Tiffany here? If you're here, hello. If I missed anybody, comment and I'll shout you out. Tiffany, I see you there. Hi, everyone. Hi. You missed the Southern twang. That Southern twang. Them youngins out yonder. Y'all, I really say that a lot. Hey, Andrea. All right. So with that, we will get started in this. I will drop the link if anybody wants to come up and talk about it. Alienware 17. Hi, how are you? Let me get my door shut while we listen to this.
This is Jennifer Soto's immunity deal. This one's from April.
Good morning. We are at the state attorney's office in Kissimmee. It's 8:57 a.m. It is April 18th, 2024. I am William J. I am the division chief for the homicide unit. With me is Danielle Pinnell, also from the homicide unit in Kissimmee. Can the detectives identify themselves?
Detective Mark Morris.
Detective Kyle Smallwood.
And with us is
Jennifer Soto.
with your attorney,
Matthew Spark.
All right. We went over some things before we went on the record and told you the.
Before we jump in, we just heard who the people are that are talking to her. Yep, and I'm going to drop the link. Andrea said, I'm usually listening while working, but finally caught a live on my day off. Well, I'm glad that you are able to join us today, and I hope you enjoy your day off. The people that were fired, okay, I knew this, and I had talked about it before, but for some reason, it just slipped my mind. Y'all have been so busy. The person who was fired was, from what I think it was the Marco person or something. It was the person who dropped the photos of Madeline at the crime scene. It was not the detectives. So I wanted to go ahead and put that out in a statement. I knew that and I forgot for whatever reason. It didn't click when I was talking about it. And it might have been the sheriff. I don't know if it was the sheriff, but it was the person who released the photos of Maddie at the crime scene. They were the ones that were taken off the case. Oh, Alienware, thank you for being here. You guys make it amazing. My life has improved since I started hanging out with you guys. I really look forward to hanging out with you guys. Like, you guys are amazing. You guys are what makes this channel great. And thank you. Sub Rosa said operating big, dangerous equipment, but I'm listening. My husband does that, so be very careful. He's not allowed to have his phone at work. Hey, Sunflower May. What a pretty name. Well, I'm glad that you decided to hang out with us. Shaboogie said, "Aw." Hazel Eyes said, "I believe it was the sheriff." I do too, from what I understand. If I remember correctly, they said it was the sheriff, but I know for a fact it was the person who leaked the photos. Hey, Shauna, I love you guys. You guys make this place awesome. Jenny Jen said, "I thought he took a deal and had to pay a fine. The fine he did. I know he had to pay a fine." But I know he's the one that supposedly got fired or got in trouble. So he might have took a deal. If I had to assume, I'd say maybe he took a deal so that he didn't get any like jail time or something and had to pay a fine. But yeah. All right, I'm going to drop the channel link.
The opportunity to ask any questions that you need to ask. If you need a break to consult with your attorney, that is absolutely fine. We'll all step out of the room, turn off our recorders, and let you exercise your constitutional right to have counsel. There's no problem with that. There's water fountains here. There's restrooms. I don't know if you're a smoker or not, but like if you get desperate, we can make an outside break time, but we are kind of under time constraints. With that all said, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, this is an investigative.
I don't think that she really did, though. I don't think she really did swear the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Andrea, thank you for being here. Andrea is letting Sub Rosa know to be safe out there, and you will do the same. You drive the big Amazon truck while listening with earbuds. Will you be careful, too, getting those packages out? Hobby Farmer said, "I was gifted hundreds of packs of flowers and sunflowers." Oh, you grew the seeds? I grew the seeds this year, too, and like a lot came up. That is super sweet, Hobby Farmer. Miss Kimmy said, "I appreciate the fact you acknowledge everyone in the comments. Being on a fixed income and following a bunch of commenters, I can't afford memberships. You make everyone feel accepted." Oh, sweetheart, I'm sorry that you can't, but yeah, I love everybody. You don't have to pay me. I love all of you. We're a family here. Hey, Chrissy knows it all. You don't, yeah, we're all good with that. I know who killed you, says love you. I heard the fine was $250, but he's still on the force. Okay, I'll look into it and double check. Yeah, I saved seeds too. All right, sorry, enough talking. I'll get into this. I apologize.
Gave a subpoena, so you've been compelled to be here. And in our country, under the 5th Amendment and the 14th Amendment as applied to you under the Florida Constitution as well, you cannot be forced to incriminate yourself. So anything you say today can't and won't be used against you unless you just don't tell us the truth. And I've already explained to your attorney, Mr. Bark, whether or not you've made any inconsistent statements in the past, that is dirt under the bridge, and either a misdemeanor was committed or it wasn't. But we're not going to be using that as a basis of some sort of perjury by false statements, because those other charges wouldn't be perjury anyways. So the most important thing today is to tell the truth. I also explained derivative use immunity, which means if you said that there was a gun, and obviously there's no gun in this case, buried in your attorney's yard, we couldn't go dig up that gun if he told us that, oh yeah, there's the gun that was used is right there. We wouldn't be able to do that. We would have to show that we learned all those things independently from this interview.
So he explains limited immunity there. Really quickly, Miss Kimmy, everybody is saying keep your membership gifts on because they do gift a lot here. So keep those on and maybe you'll get gifted. Hey, Toxic. So he explained limited immunity. He said basically if you say there was a firearm used to commit this crime and the firearm is buried 3 paces north and to the east 1 step and X marks the spot, we can't go dig it up. And we'd have to say that we basically figured it out without you telling us. Okay. And they explained that to her. But again, I don't think we get any new information from this, but that's what the limited immunity deal means. I'm going to also pull it up on Google and see if you can be charged later with limited immunity in Florida.
Okay. Do you have any questions? All right, so let's get started.
Before you start, let me just make sure we're clear on the record. Off the record, we had discussed our position on the concerns we have. Ms. Soto was interrogated by law enforcement previously. she was under a tremendous amount of duress and stress, being that her child was missing and then she was informed was found deceased. There's been media hysteria about this. There's been people asking for her to be prosecuted, tarred, feathered, executed. And so with that said, we have the concern that you brought up about if there's something said inconsistent today, not being used against her for filing a false police report.
Right. So, for example, if she said something that was false then, and we have no idea that was false now before this interview, but she comes in and admits that it was false today, we can't use these statements or that admission that it was false against her, just like we couldn't use anything else against her from this interview.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so she says she was under an extreme amount of duress during that interview, but she seemed cool as a cucumber to me, the one we've been talking about. Tiffany said, I know I'm in the minority, but I don't believe Jen was involved in the CP of Maddie. I need some hard evidence to believe she was involved. She was negligent, yes, but involved, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she was actually involved in the CP. I think she might have known about it, but it would be hard for me to believe that she was actually involved. I would need some hard evidence as well. Hey, Cozy, and thank you for being here. I have so let's look real quick at the definition and what limited immunity in Florida means, if you can be charged later. So it says, yes, a person can be charged later, even if they have limited immunity in Florida. So there's proffer immunity, which means a person enters into a proffer agreement with the government, can still be prosecuted if they lie or exaggerate the guilt of others. The government can also use statements made during the proffer session indirectly, such as to obtain leads or cross-examine the witness. Witness immunity. A witness can waive immunity explicitly or implicitly. For example, a witness may implicitly waive immunity by testifying without claiming their Fifth Amendment privilege. And then there's sovereign immunity. A claimant must send a notice to the government within 3 years of the claim to avoid the claim being barred. The amount of money that can be recovered from the state is limited to $200,000 unless there is an insurance policy that exceeds that amount. A claimant can also apply for a claims bill to the state legislator to allow a claim to exceed the $200,000 gap. So I would think in relation to what I'm reading, I would go with proffer or witness. Let's see what the immunity law in Florida is. Sovereign immunity is a principle under which a government cannot be sued without its consent. Let's look up specifically limited immunity. So we do know that she can be charged later. Let's see what limited immunity is.
I just wanted to say hi while you're reading.
Oh, hey, I'm glad you came
Hi.
up. How are you doing?
Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about law. And I know that it changes state by state. But one very important thing that the detective said right there was if she tells the truth.
Right.
And we know she didn't. So
Right.
I guess that it's void, I would say, right? Like, what's his name? Strategic Eyes. He's like a police officer from New York. And he's talked about this immunity deal that they did. You know, it's really good because we get like an inside view from someone in law enforcement that actually knows what's going on, even though the laws might vary by state. But she didn't have like the full immunity. It was limited, right?
Right.
If she didn't lie, but she lied.
Right.
I mean, it's so clear that she lied, you know, and I guess they must have given her like limited immunity because I mean, it happened in her house to her
Right.
daughter with her whatever partner. She's like, oh, my partner took him to school, like whatever the hell he was, right? But so I'm guessing the cops gave her limited immunity because she would have given them, she would have ratted him out. I mean, a normal person would not be defending the man who did this terrible thing to your child. A normal person would have been like, okay, yeah, he used to come over like this, and he would, this would happen, and he would, maybe they would go out for ice cream. You know what I mean? She would
Right.
have told him. And instead of ratting him out, she's worried about him. She's covering for him. So,
Yeah.
like, I think that we don't have, this is my completely unprofessional opinion. I think we don't have to worry about this immunity.
I
I
don't.
would think, because he said, if you don't lie.
Yeah, I don't think that we do either, because we know she lied, and we're gonna listen to that. I'm gonna look more deeply into this when we talk about. I'm gonna put a video out or in a live talk about the specifics of the pre-trial and the trial that's happening in 2025. But what I could find real quick is immunity for persons who report child abuse and neglect in Florida, immunity for making reports, any person, official, or institution participating in good faith in any act authorized or required by the reporting laws or reporting in good faith any instance of child abuse, abandonment, or neglect to the department or any law enforcement agencies shall be immune from any civil or criminal liability that might otherwise result by reason of such action. And but we know she didn't turn him in. So
No, she defended him.
right. And then down here it says nothing contained in the reporting laws shall be deemed to grant civil or criminal immunity to any person suspected of having abused, abandoned, or neglected a child or committed any illegal act upon or against a child.
Wait,
So
wait,
I'm
wait.
going to do.
Read that again. I'm sorry. That last thing that you read.
Oh crap! I just closed out of it.
I'm sorry.
It said that they can't have immunity if they are suspected of abusing a child or participating in basically the CSAM.
Yeah.
And so that would tell me that maybe she's not suspected right now of having participated, but we might find out more at the trial. I can try to pull it back up, but going by that, it would make me think that she's not suspected of participating. Hold on, I've got it real quick.
Yeah.
Right here.
Right there. Nothing contained in the reporting law shall be deemed to grant civil or criminal immunity to any person suspected of having abused, abandoned, or... okay. Well, couldn't we say that she neglected Maddie? I wish I was a lawyer.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the gunshots.
I wish I was a lawyer.
I know, right? I'm sorry if y'all hear that in the background. There's a tobacco field over here behind me, and they are deer hunting. I'm assuming. Sounds like they're target practicing, but I'm sorry if y'all hear that. Yeah.
So no civil or criminal immunity to anybody suspected of having abused, abandoned, or neglected a child,
or committed any illegal act upon or against a child.
Yeah, I don't think Jan did anything besides neglect, and I mean, I think she's too. I don't think she participated actively in anything, but I mean, she pimped her out.
Yeah, I think so. Derivative immunity, says Hio. Let's look it up.
Because what person today would think that it's okay to send your child to a bedroom with a grown man?
Right. Not me.
Oh, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, go ahead and have a sleepover. When she knows that he's a perv.
Yep. So it says derivative use immunity is a type of immunity that protects a witness from prosecution if they provide information to the government. This sounds more like it. Thank you, Hio. It prevents the government from using the witness's testimony or any evidence derived from it against them. This includes evidence discovered from additional investigations based on the witness information. Derivative use immunity is more extensive than use immunity, which only prevents the government from using the witness's direct statements as evidence against them. The government can prosecute a witness using evidence obtained independently of their immunized testimony, except in cases of perjury, giving a false statement, or otherwise failing to comply with the order. and I think she failed to comply. She gave a false statement at least. So derivative immunity, and if they said that, I missed that. Thank you so much, Hio. This makes more sense. I want to know the relation of derivative immunity to limited immunity. So I'm going to look that up real quick, and then we'll get back into the interview.
Yeah, because they, I bet that's what they were thinking. Let's give her some kind of immunity because she's gonna rat him out.
And she didn't.
After all of those terrible statements that she gave to the cops, that one that we saw, that Detective Kevin, the one that was the video one, and he just laid it out. He's like, dude, I showed you the photo of his thing in her mouth, and you're like, well, I don't think he did anything evil to her, and
yeah, absolutely sick.
It's so like not funny, but like interesting to watch when she said, "Oh, the sex stuff is okay, but I didn't think he had anything evil to her." Like he cocks his head like a dog.
Yeah,
he's like
he's like,
and you can tell he goes like, like
yeah,
what?
excuse me, what? Right.
Like I don't know how many times. I'm not obsessed with this case at all. I've just seen this 1,000 times, right? I'm completely obsessed. But and
I think we're all a little obsessed at this
I
point.
wish I was a lawyer at this point, and I wish I was a DA because I want to go after this woman.
No doubt.
And, I'm really praying for justice for Maddie because she deserved so much better. Kids, people deserve better when they're born. Before they're like they turn evil, or if they end up being evil.
Right.
And so much of it like is a result of their terrible upbringing. And then I was listening again to the interviews of the grandmother and the grandfather and the aunt, Stephanie. And like the grandmother, she's so detached. She's like, yeah, oh yeah. She would come over to my office after school sometimes, like 5 times. And then the aunts too, like Stephanie, whatever. And then Juan, the grandfather, who went off van lifing. I'm like so envious. He's the only person that cried for Maddie. And this was like while she was just missing. They hadn't even found her body yet. He was crying how the last time they were together, they had like Burger King, and he's like, we had a Whopper, and he starts to cry.
Oh wow.
And I'm thinking, like, I mean, she was still missing, but if your kid's missing, that's extremely that already, that's the worst that can happen because you don't know what happened.
Right. So this says the top part is the same as derivative use immunity. Right here, I did derivative immunity in relation to limited immunity, Florida. The only thing that's changed is these two parts, and it says, in theory, derivative use immunity provides the same protection as if the witness invoked their Fifth Amendment privilege and did not testify at all. Florida courts have ruled that they are unable to provide a witness with the transactional immunity over the state's objection. However, the Florida Supreme Court did extend Rule 9.130 in 1994 to allow immediate appeal of orders denying entitlement to qualified immunity. And then down here, what is limited use immunity? And it says limited use immunity means that the government cannot directly use the statements you make to the government against you if they decide to prosecute you. Fairly enough, and it goes into that. So what that's telling me is that anything she said in this interview could not be used against her if they decide to prosecute her. So basically that goes back to where he talks about, if you tell me there's a firearm buried and I can't go get that firearm and dig it up unless I show that I found that myself. So basically what they're saying is, if you tell me that you saw Stefan committing these acts of violence, as I'll put it, against Maddie, I have to say that I figured that out myself, basically, before I can hold you or anybody else accountable for that. So that does leave it open to be, for her to be prosecuted again.
Yeah. And I think that, I don't know, maybe I just latched on to something. Maybe it's not as big as I think, but when he said, like, if you tell us the truth.
Yeah.
If you tell us the truth.
Yeah.
But if you're lying to law enforcement, that's a crime. That was the only thing that they could get Casey Anthony in prison for.
Right.
Because she wasn't, she was they did a terrible job prosecuting her. I guess they thought that the jury would be smarter. They're like, oh, it's so obvious that she, that what she did. But you still have to prove it. And
Right.
and some of the jury came out and said, like, well, we think she's guilty, but because of the way they stated it, and because it was beyond a reasonable doubt, we couldn't say she was guilty. But we all thought that, or I guess they all thought that she was guilty.
Right.
They can't. You have to be like very redundant with, like, yeah, she did with your proof. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert. I'm just a true crime buff.
No. And you want,
And then the only thing that she went to prison for, whatever time she spent in prison, was for lying to law enforcement.
yeah.
So
Because-
at least they could prosecute Jennifer for that. Because wouldn't
Right.
that make her accessory after the fact?
If they can prove that she helped get rid of Maddie, they can charge her with accessory after the fact.
I mean, when she, like, I wish we had like a lawyer. See if we can get a lawyer come on. Because you know how when he showed her when the cop showed her the photographic proof of the abuse, immediately she texts Stearns and is like, oh, he needs a lawyer.
Yep.
Couldn't that be considered accessory after the fact? I wonder.
I don't know. Because she's not committing a crime by saying that she wants to try to get him a lawyer. That it's not a crime for her to want to get him a lawyer. It just makes her a shitty freaking person, which she is.
Yeah. Being a shitty person should be a crime.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. I'm going to play this.
My understanding is that on February 25th of this year, you were working at the hotel on Disney property out at Coronado Springs.
Yes.
You
You have to answer
out loud and loud enough to get caught on the record. I know you're upset. I know.
Yes.
All right. And did you get off at 10 p.m.?
Yes.
All right. Did you go directly home?
Yes.
About how long does it take you to get home?
About 25 to 30 minutes.
And when you get home, who is downstairs, if anybody? You have a two-story, is it a townhome? Is that the best word for it?
Yes, it's at home.
If anybody is downstairs, who is downstairs?
I saw my daughter Madeline and Stefan.
Do you recall what Madeline was wearing?
No.
Oh, can you pause right here for a
Do you
second?
recall what Stefan was wearing?
I mean, this is the day of the party. She went to the birthday party. She had that blue dress.
Yep. But this was at night after that, so she would have probably been in pajamas. But I mean, again, that long pause. I mean, and I could tell you, well, my kids just got new pajamas, but like, if I could tell you what they're wearing right now, I could tell you what they're wearing today, and I have 4 here, so like, I mean, I don't think it'd be that hard to remember what you saw your child wearing unless you didn't see her that night.
Yeah. Like, if it's just a regular day, like, what was he wearing? I don't know what I'm wearing.
Right.
I would be a terrible witness because I'm like, I don't remember anything. But I mean, when something important happens, like shocking, dramatic, important, like you latch onto some details. I mean, it was her birthday. You would know what she was wearing. I don't know.
Right. And you think
I'm
about,
sorry. Like she said 2 words and it pissed me off already.
no, you're good. You think about parents like with missing children, they could tell you what the child was wearing, how their hair was laying, like because you replay that day over and over and over again in your mind, right? So
at least you could have said pajamas.
Yeah, I mean, but most of the time, like if something happened that day, you go back to that day and you think about it over and over and over again. Especially when somebody passes away. That's what I do. I mean, I replay days over in my head, like over and over and over again, and I could tell you everything. So that's weird.
So there, I would speculate that she never saw Maddie that evening.
Right. And therefore,
you know how she says, oh, we talked for half an hour in my room and she told us all about her presents. Bullshit. She didn't get any presents. And we counted her money. Bullshit. The money stayed at grandma's house. She didn't bring the money home.
Right. So
right there, that's 2 lines.
Right. And so if she didn't see her that evening, she also didn't say, well, I guess y'all can sleep upstairs even though I don't really like it. Like, what I'm thinking is she didn't see her that evening and she came home and they were already upstairs because that
Yeah.
was normal for them, in my opinion, allegedly
Ugh.
speculating. I think she didn't
Yeah.
see her at all.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm like, as soon as this started playing, I'm like, stop. 2 seconds
No,
later, I'm
you're
already
good.
angry because I mean, right there, you know, because it's in the details. That's how they get people. That's how crimes are solved, with the tiny little details. Like, oh, I found an eyelash on top of the table, and that solves a crime. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that's how the cops like piece shit together. You know, just little details and right. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I'll stop. Go
No,
ahead.
you're fine. That's what the panel's for.
Shit's
Is so you can
infuriating.
talk. Yeah, I know. I feel you. Hey, Shelby and Ange, thank you for being here. The panel's for you to talk, honey. You can talk and voice your opinions, thoughts, and speculations. That's what we do over here. So you just let me know if you want to say something. Hey, Megan. It's frustrating for sure. But like you were saying, you can't tell me what you were wearing, what she was wearing. Talking about the presents, we know from her best friend there was one on the table. Grandma kept the money, so you didn't talk about all her presents. You didn't count her money. I don't think she saw her at all. I think they were already in bed, and I think it was normal for them to already be in bed. And I think they probably went up to the room and kind of tried to stay in there, or at least Maddie did, because they didn't want the roommates to know necessarily that Maddie was sleeping in there with Stefan, because the one roommate usually got home at 11 o'clock at night, and she always thought that Maddie slept in her little nook because she didn't ever, they were already all in bed. I think that's what happened. That's just me allegedly speculating. Miss Kimmy said, I still feel that when Jen said the last time she saw Maddie was Wednesday, then giggled and said, oh, sorry, I meant Sunday. Interesting. Colleen said this woman played the good mom. It was all about what others saw, not how she actually parented. Yep. Hey, Pinto, thank you for being here. Hey, Matilda Marie, thank you for being here. Matilda said, I think he came to bring her meds as always. That's why she was going to get a good night's sleep. Yep. It's a good speculation.
When you get home from work, you need to kind of eat a late dinner. Was wearing.
She's going to whisper something here in a second. Let's listen intently.
No. And do you recall what Stefan was wearing?
I can't tell you.
When you get home from work, you need to kind of eat a late.
She don't know what Maddie was wearing, and she said when he asked about what Stefan was wearing, she said, I can't tell you, no. Miss Kimmy said, and don't forget, Maddie went to pick out an outfit to wear on Monday, but didn't know what Maddie wore to bed and got her Monday outfit wrong. Jen never saw her daughter. Exactly. That's where I'm at with it. Colleen said, I still feel something strange about the fact she became a true teen. She didn't want to go home, like she inherently knew something bad was coming. Yep, because she knew Stefan was going to be there. She knew it was coming. Is my thought. That girl said, I think Jen hides behind her medication so she doesn't have to face her failures of her only child. I think that they both hid behind medication there for their adult years at least. And then real quick, Toxic said, she must think people are dumb if she could even think that she could float. She was a good mom. Yep. Oh, Abellis, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. That is so sweet and so supportive of you. If you guys were gifted a membership from Abellis, please tell her thank you. I haven't changed my clip yet, so we're going to continue to watch the Polar Express for a minute. Thank you so much, Abellis. That is super supportive of you. I know, Abellis, you emailed me, and if anybody else has, I will get back to you. I've been so busy this morning. And Basil, one of you asked, he's good. He's sitting like right here beside me, laying on me, actually. Thank you so much, Abellis. That was super sweet of you. Sub Rosa said, poor child or poor girl, and I agree.
Late dinner before you get settled in for bed?
Yes.
And do you eat there at your home?
Yes.
What do you eat?
I think I had a pub sub waiting for me in the house, a sandwich.
Okay. Did anybody join you in sitting down and eating?
No, I ate in my bedroom.
Okay. Did it look like any?
Sub Rosa said the toxic gossip trade. I don't need Colleen Ballinger over here. Hey, Blue Giraffes, thank you for being here.
Anybody else had recently cooked food or eaten any food there that night?
From what I saw, no. I didn't see anyone cooking, or it didn't look like anyone had been cooking.
Okay. I believe in one of your former interviews, you mentioned that Madeline might have gone over with you kind of what she got at the birthday party since you didn't have the chance to go because you were at work.
Mm-hmm.
When and where does that occur?
That occurs like right after I get home. It occurs in my bedroom. Everyone's in my room.
And so by everyone, let's just be clear, since I understand you have some roommates. So what do you mean by everyone?
Madeline, Stefan, and myself were in my bedroom.
Okay. At this point in time, do you recall what Madeline was wearing?
I don't know.
Let me ask it a different way. Can you tell me?
So right there, I mean, again, if we talk about what we just referenced with she barely got any presents and her grandma had her money, but y'all sit there and talk and ate and you still can't recall what she was wearing, again, because you're freaking lying and you don't want, and this is the limited immunity. Okay. This is when you say, hey, look, I was worried, I was scared, whatever reason you lied. Let me just go ahead and say, that they did sleep upstairs all the time. That explains why I don't know what she was wearing. I know I said they didn't. I didn't want to look like a bad parent. I realized I shouldn't have lied. And then just tell the truth, like you're covered in this deal, and they explain that to you. And we don't know that she didn't see her, okay? That, again, is just me allegedly speculating, but that would explain why you can never tell me what she was wearing. You talk about her presents and money and count the money, but that's not true because there was only one present on the table per her best friend, and grandma had the money. So why would you not? I mean,
yeah. She could have just had like pajamas, because that would be the normal, natural thing. You go home and take a shower, you do the night routine. I get so infuriated with these two knuckleheads that like even like I have their like the word meandering, like time to kill, snuggle and cuddle. Like I'm starting to hate words now. Like she settled down for her nighttime routine. Like everything they say just pisses me off. But Toxic said, why would grandma keep her birthday money? There was in one interview where Jen said that they her Christmas money went missing, and they both thought that Stinky Stearns had. I can't even say his name. I'm sorry, I can't stand it.
You're good.
I get very passionate. You know that. I get so pissed off. I'm like, I can't even. This is why I guess I'm so obsessed about this case, because it's so infuriating. And like, anyways, what was I saying? Yeah. So they both thought that Stinky had stolen her Christmas money. And then Jen's like, oh yeah, but just kidding. Like we found the money and then we put it in my drawer or whatever. So I'm guessing, he stole it from his parents.
Yeah.
She told that to the cops, like he would steal from his parents. And she's like, I didn't think he didn't steal from me. So I didn't think he was a bad person. He's a bad person.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that she left the money at home. And it's also interesting because how she had a Botox appointment for $350. The next day, for the Monday, she had an appointment. And I'm just guessing maybe Maddie left the money at home because she had a clue that her mom was going to want to spend her birthday money for fucking Botox. I'm sorry. I cuss. I don't know if you can curse. I'm sorry. I slipped out.
No, you're good.
So I'm kind of wondering if maybe Maddie wasn't just like grandma cannot leave the money here, because if she takes it home, one of these two pillheads are going to use her money. That's why her money was at grandma's house.
You think so?
According to the aunt.
Yeah.
According to Stephanie, her sister, who I don't think she lied. I didn't get a lying vibe from her. Again, I don't know, right? We're just speculating.
No, yeah, and we are, and that's what this is about. But I don't think that that sister. I don't think she was. I don't think she was in on it either, especially considering the way in the 911 call she's like conveniently left her cell phone.
Yeah.
Miss Kimmy said right there, Jen said she ate a sub alone in her room. Nobody joined her. So where was Stearns and Maddie at this moment? Let's back it up a little bit and hear that again. Thank you for pointing that out, Miss Kimmy. Hey, Kalisa Katz, and I think there was a few other people I might have missed. In my passenger, I know you're here. Thank you guys for being here. Let's listen to that again, because she says she ate alone, but then all of a sudden Maddie and Steppen are in her room talking to her.
Okay. Did anybody join you in sitting down and eating?
No, I ate in my bedroom.
Okay, she ate in her bedroom. Now let's see if it's the same time period, supposedly, that Steppen and Maddie are in there.
Okay. Did it look like anybody else had recently cooked food or eaten any food there that night?
From what I saw, no. I didn't see anyone cooking, or it didn't look like anyone had been cooking.
Okay. I believe in one of your former interviews, you mentioned that Madeline might have gone over with you kind of what she got at the birthday party since you didn't have the chance to go because you were at work. Mm-hmm. When and where does that occur?
That occurs like right after I get home. It occurs in my bedroom. Everyone's in my room.
And so by everyone, let's just be clear, since I understand you have some roommates. So what do you mean by everyone?
Okay. Madeline, Steppen, and myself were in my bedroom.
Okay. At this point in time, do you recall what Madeline was wearing?
So she had a sub. Like, I would think that maybe she bought it somewhere, came home and sat down and ate, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she could have waited or like could have sat down and talked to them first and then ate alone in her room. But it is odd to me. I was wondering what Maddie ate, because most of the time, if I'm like me personally, and I know most parents out there, if I'm eating something, my kids are eating as well. But she could have ate at the birthday party, and I think she said she did. So that would explain that. Rachel said, I think Jen's family knows how she is, and I wish they would have tried to do something, not blaming them at all, just a wish. I know the grandma kept Maddie at her house quite a bit, so I think the grandma did try to help as much as she could keep Maddie out of a situation she thought maybe just she didn't agree with. I don't think for a second that anybody in the family knew what was actually going on. And I don't blame them. I'm sure they blame themselves enough, unfortunately, and they are victims in this case, as well as Maddie. Terry said, I've always thought she canceled that Botox appointment because Maddie didn't make enough money to cover it. It's very possible. And thank you for being here, Terry. And I don't think you were blaming them at all, Rachel. Just by the way, I just, was saying that I don't think they knew. And I think they did know that it was a little bit toxic. So they did try to keep her out as much as they could. Hey, Veronica.
I don't know.
Let me ask it a different way. Can you tell me whether or not she was wearing a long sleeved green sweatshirt and jeans?
Oh, no.
Okay. Would she have kind of been in her bed gear, or do you think she could have still been in the dress that she wore to her birthday celebration?
She would have been in pajamas. I can't recall the exact pajamas, but she would have been in pajamas. She had already, by this point in the evening, she had already showered and changed out of that birthday dress.
And was it your understanding from your sister that she had gotten dropped off about 8:30, she being Madeline?
8:30, 8:45, something around that time, yeah.
And what's your understanding as to when Stefan had gotten there? If you know. If you don't guess, it's fine.
Actually, while he's saying that, this is important. So there's things that you might think should be a certain way because that's just the way things go. But don't just guess based on past history that it's the same as what happened on that particular day. If you don't know, you don't know.
Then yeah, I'm not sure exactly what time he got there.
Okay. You were at work, so I just didn't know if sometimes families check in, hey, I made it, by text or by phone call or anything like that? Do you not remember any of that?
I don't remember.
Okay. How long were the three of you in your...
I mean, all of this again is weird to me. How do you not remember if he said, hey, I'm here. Hey, Maddie took her meds. Hey, Maddie took a shower. None of that. You don't remember any of that. Okay.
Yeah, especially since they had to be like talking all day long.
Right.
You know, they
Yeah.
would be like, she said, like, a lot of times it would be like FaceTiming for hours, not even like we would each be doing our own individual thing and like not even talk. Like, first of all, who needs to be FaceTiming all day long? Get a life,
Right.
you know, be two responsible adults. And then she I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're good. And that's a good thing to point out. They were always supposedly FaceTiming and with each other and couldn't stand to not be talking to each other, but yet you know nothing. Okay.
You know, because he said, she said, he's my best friend in the entire world. I would trust him with my life.
I don't know how to say your name, so I'm going to say Aki. Aki says, why is there a bunny? That is one of our mascots. I have a pet bunny named Basil that is like the mascot of our channel. And then Hio made me this bunny. It's really for like when I'm playing somebody else's material, if I don't have permission to help me from getting a copyright. But he sniffs out the BS. So that's our bunny that sniffs out the BS. We're going to have to name him. We'll have to figure out a name. The channel will have to come up with a name for our bunny that sniffs the BS.
And
Mary
he's
said,
constantly sniffing. He's very good at it.
yeah, he sniffs out the BS. Mary said, why didn't they arrest Jen if she was involved? They are using her sorry state and hiding her out. I don't know. I don't know if they can necessarily prove that she was involved. I think they're trying to kind of with this immunity deal, but I think they're having trouble. Bellis dropped pictures of Basil. That's what that is. So that is my actual rabbit, Basil. He's over here chewing right now. And then they call the one on the screen Basil 2.0. Inspector BS.
The other day, one of the girls here, I don't know if it was Zio, somebody was on here, like the chat, and they said that possibly they hadn't arrested Jen yet or whatever, not because they're trying to get Stearns first. Yeah,
and they wanted to testify. It was Jay. Yep.
Because they would need her to testify, and also, if I'm imagining if they get her like an accessory after the fact or something, because if you cover up for a crime, you're an accessory after the fact.
Yeah. Well,
not a lawyer, but that's what I know from like watching, true crime. If somebody comes up to you and is like, hey, can you help me bury a dead body? You're an accessory after the fact. You're going to get, you're going to get prosecuted. So they can't prosecute the accessory before they prosecute the main perp.
Yeah, but they have to prove that she's involved with
also.
Yeah. So, yeah, that would be my thought on that. Inspector BS is the name of the rabbit, evidently. So, I like it too. I think Inspector BS will be the rabbit's name. And Cozy, you're good. Yeah, we're all very passionate here. You speak your mind. It's accepted. Flora W said, my neighbor has a bunny that's a literal Houdini. Every time he gets out, I have to let people know I'm next door. That it's him. That's funny. And then last one real quick and we'll get back to it. Veronica said, I think that Jen is covering for Stephen not to help him, but he has stuff on her that will get her in jail as soon as possible. So that's why she asked for a lawyer and all that BS for her, in my opinion. I've thought about that because he says I'm not the one who started it. I don't think he's victim blaming. I think he loved Madeline in a very messed up kind of way. Especially considering the poem in the jail records video. I think the statement, I didn't start it, references Jen and possibly somebody else, but I don't think it was the ex-husband because he didn't seem like the type of person to do things like that. I mean, I could be wrong. So I don't know. I don't think it has to do with victim blaming personally. Teresa said BS is Basil speculating. All right, we'll get back to this.
Your bedroom.
I'm going to say for about 30 minutes.
Okay. And did Madeline tell you about the party?
She was really happy.
Did she tell you what food they had there at the party?
Yeah, they had her favorites.
What are her favorites?
Puerto Rican food. So arroz con gandules.
All right, so you're gonna have to translate to English. I know frijoles and arroz and a couple other things.
Hey, all things serious. All things serious, I wanted to tell you, you wanted me to come up on panel the other night, and I told you I would, and I ended up not having time. I will come up on your panel in the next, either tonight or tomorrow night, depending on how busy I am. All Things Serious has a channel, and I think he says he's live every night at 8:30 Eastern Standard. So I will come up there, and I apologize for the other day not being able to come up. Hey, Tatiana.
But help me out.
If I recall correctly, she had requested rice. It's a type of rice and beans.
Mm-hmm.
It's rice with pigeon peas.
Okay.
And pernil, which is, I'm not sure how to. It's a pork, but I'm not sure how they cook it.
Okay.
So it's cooked pork.
I'm glad she knew Maddie's favorite food. Tatiana, real quick, pointed out something important. And Tatiana said in Harmony Montgomery's case, his wife was jailed before the deal based on inconsistencies and given a deal during the process. Jen's mother is a local lawyer. Maybe this is her secret. I thought Jen's mother was an insurance agent. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, she works with insurance.
Okay. But that is
was it insurance or a realtor? Was it insurance?
It might have been a realtor, but
it's one of the two.
I thought it was one of the two. That's a good thing to point out about the Harmony Montgomery case. She was jailed and she did do time, but I think it was for food stamp fraud, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I watched that case. It was heartbreaking.
Oh my God.
I watched a trial and
yeah.
It was rough. It was rough, but like she went to prison. Was it Crystal? I never remember if Crystal was like the stepmom or if it was the mother. Harmony
Crystal
Montgomery's
was the mother.
Yeah, so it was like the stepmother that was living with that monster and didn't stop it and did nothing to help the, oh my God, I can't even, that one was the worst one, I think. But she did go to prison for something, but then they brought her to testify. So like, and again, I guess this was like Massachusetts or Vermont or New Hampshire. It was like New England. It was up there, Massachusetts. Woo. But again, maybe different state laws. Kayla Montgomery. Yeah, there it is. But they still brought her to testify against what's his face,
Yep.
Oof.
Yeah, that was sad when they talk about her being in the ceiling and starting to smell when the heat was turned on. That really,
I was legit traumatized.
Hurt my heart. Yep. Eddie said he was living in New Hampshire when that happened. Hey, Stephen from the other side of the world. Thank you for being here.
That's typically what she requests for her parties. That's like her favorite meal.
Okay. And what kind of gifts did she get?
I said Stephen. It's probably Stephen or Ben. It's pronounced differently because you're in another country, but I'm thinking that I'm doing my best. Hey, Ashley, and hey, Andrea.
She got a lot of money.
Okay.
That's what she ended up showing me. I think she had a few trinkets, but like most of it was just a big wad of money that she was so excited for.
All right. Is there any particular reason Stefan couldn't make it up to the party? Because it's my understanding he didn't exactly work or anything.
He wouldn't have been invited. The party was held at my mom's house, and my mom and him have never had a great relationship. She's never liked him. So he wouldn't have been invited to the party at all. It just would have.
Andrea, thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me know how to say it.
Been my whole family, and then me. If I hadn't worked, I would have been there.
Okay. Now, during this 30 minutes that the three of you are in your bedroom, is Madeline engaging in any of her kind of nighttime routine or, getting ready for bed? What else is going on, if anything?
We spent a long time talking about gifts and having her show me, and then we counted out her money.
No, you didn't. Grandma didn't like stepping because she knew how he was. Oh, Shaboogies, you dropped. Did I boot you? I mean, not Shaboogies. Cozy. Oh, there you are. I was like, did I boot you? I hope I didn't.
No, I
Veronica-
lost.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you came back up. Thank you for coming back up. Veronica said detective told Jen there was hundreds of police force looking for her daughter 24/7 without sleep, without seeing their kids. She's like, oh well, she did sleep like a baby through that. She did. Like, I would be freaking inconsolable, not able to sleep. Blue Giraffe
She
said
ate, she slept, she took all her pills.
Yep. Blue Giraffe said, quote, she showed me a lot of money. No, she didn't, and was at her grandma's. Right. Continuing to lie through this immunity.
I can't remember if she had finished with all of her bedtime routine.
Okay. Does she brush her teeth at night?
In the shower.
In the shower? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that occurred before you got home?
Yeah.
And my understanding with her nighttime medication is that's something that you would like to make sure she had bedtime or so?
Something like that, yeah.
So were you present for that occurring, or did that occur after you got home?
That did not occur on my call. I believe I had instructed Maddie when she got home to go ahead and take them herself.
Okay. And is that something that she's allowed to do?
From time to time, yeah.
When you say they,
This is so weird.
My understanding was there was some hydroxy.
Because she's like painting herself to be this hypervigilant, super suspicious parent. Oh my God.
Yep.
And I don't understand why she keeps trying to paint Maddie as this helpless, I don't want to say retarded, but like retarded baby.
No,
In
don't
the
say
sense
that
where she
word.
can't do- I'm sorry, but
Just
you know
pick
what I mean?
another word. You could say ignorant. That's a good one.
I meant in a sense where like she's so like hopeless, like she can't even figure out which pill to take. Like, yeah, like I think
Right.
all of us could like if we have a bunch of bottles, we could like use a different bottle. Like, like that lady, she went to put eye drops in her eye and she put like nail glue in her eye. Like we could all make stupid mistakes like that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
But she keeps painting Maddie like she needs to be like under supervision to take her pills because I have to be there and we have to have eyes on her. She has to be like on my watch. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
She's there. I mean, she just turned 13, but she was like 12. Like
she was very.
Like maybe she could say like, Mom, I have a headache. What do I take? Like if she did, the mom could be like, oh, take the aspirin, take the ibuprofen or something. But
yeah, she was
you know what I mean?
She was very mature for her age because unfortunately she had to be. So yeah, Jen saying she's treating her like a baby is bizarre.
She said like, oh, she was autistic and she had ADHD, and which we all have discussed this. Like, I don't think she was autistic at all. I don't know. She could have been, but we, the general consensus here that we are all speculating that it was probably just all trauma. Like maybe she did have ADHD if she was like forgetful and impulsive. That her friend said she could be like impulsive. But still, 12 years old, she just turned 13. So let's say she's a 12-year-old child. If she has this routine where she has to take a pill in the morning and a pill in the evening every day, she would know which bottle it is. Could she possibly, like once or twice, maybe grab the wrong bottle? Yeah, we can all do that. But
right.
She's not this hyper vigilant helicopter mom.
Nope.
That she's trying to paint. And why does she keep trying to paint Maddie so helpless? Oh,
right.
You know how she said like, oh, she wouldn't know. In one of her many interviews, she said like Madeline wouldn't even know how to get home.
Right.
I
yep.
think the cop asked her if she knew her address. Like, I think she would know her address at
yeah.
12 years old.
Especially
know?
with Amazon, the kids ordering stuff and all that. Yeah, they know their
I
address.
think your address you would know. Like I knew
Right.
my address like ever like when I was a child, I always knew my address. And she said, "Oh, but she could point out which way to turn or whatever." She's always trying to paint her as this helpless giant baby that can't do anything and she needs constant supervision. Is that her excuse for saying like, "Oh, this is why I need I can't say his name. That's why we need Stinky around. We
Yeah.
need Krusty around because we have to have eyes on her when she's taking her pills." I'm like,
And she had off the next day. She needed him to come help her, but she had off the next day, from what I understand. Like,
she had
what
2
did
days
you?
off.
Yeah, what did you need help with? You got the day off. What are you talking about? Right.
And for example, if she had a morning pill and a night pill that she couldn't get them mixed up or else she wouldn't sleep, which makes total sense, is logical. I mean, if you want to be so careful, you could literally just take a sticky and put it on the freaking bottle and say morning, evening,
Right.
to make sure that she wouldn't grab the wrong medication.
Yeah.
You know?
Anders, where do you, if you don't mind, tell me where you heard that interview? Because I've been trying to get it and they don't want to give it to me. So I'm working on that. So maybe in Discord or wherever, let me know where you heard that interview. Miss Kimmy pointed out that Maddie couldn't find her way out of a paper bag, but could find her way to Grandma's place of employment by the school. Right. Yep. And Maddie stopped taking her Adderall for over 2 months, so Jen had watched her take her medicine she wasn't supervising. Yeah, the medicine was supposed to be filled in December. And it hadn't been filled. It was February, and it was supposed to be refilled in December, and it hadn't been filled. Bad girl said, but I thought Maddie was taking her pills.
But
She's
behind.
supposed to be watched every night, but evidently wasn't even taking them. The friend said she hadn't taken them since Valentine's Day. So again, all
Yeah.
this is bullshit. The
Because even
friend doesn't have,
if you don't literally see her taking her pills, if you're a mother and you have to keep up on medication, you would pick up the little bottle and be like, "Oh, it's still full. Are you
yeah,
taking your pills?" You know what I mean?
right.
So we can see that every line she says is a freaking lie.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, she actually misremembered and misspoke one thing or another because maybe it's a little detail. We get confused. If you tell me what I ate 2 days ago, I don't know. What did I wear yesterday? Like, I don't know.
Right.
But like everything she says is a lie.
Yep.
I think that's why we're also infuriated and so like hating on this woman is because
Yep.
everything she says is a lie.
Absolutely.
It's not okay. She just lied about this one thing. Like she could have gotten confused. She could have misremembered. Oh, I misremembered. Stop.
Yeah.
You're just lying.
Yep.
If she said the sky is blue, we wouldn't believe her. We were like, no, you're lying about that.
No doubt. Yep.
I get real angry about it.
No, you're good. We're all passionate.
I'm a very passionate person. I'm very fiery, and when I'm like literally like it's giving me anxiety just talking about it. It's awful.
Yeah, it does mean, a lot of us feel that way about it. It is awful.
And like I just give me a second for a minute.
Okay,
like,
I'm
gonna. Jen was like, she said she was bipolar. She had bipolar disorder.
Is
And that's
sorry.
possible. And that's quite possible. Like even her, she does have some kind of a mental problem. She does. We know that.
right.
And like I was diagnosed bipolar and I was treated as bipolar for like 10 years, taking medications, which just made me a zombie and didn't help. And then finally now I'm not. I knew after a while I learned that I wasn't bipolar. It was ADHD. I got tested. Finally, I found a doctor that's like, yeah, no, you're not. You don't have bipolar. You have ADHD because ADHD deregulates moods. And usually, any doctor you go, if you say I have mood issues, they go, bipolar.
Yep.
And a lot of them, they don't even take 5 minutes to see if you actually have bipolar or not. They just diagnose you that and they give you the wrong pills. And like her ex-husband, Steven, like, how did she land that dude? He's hot and smart. Like, how did she land him? What the hell? He was in his flop era to marry this potato right here. But, and he comments how like she was figuring out her medication. And I understand that when you're trying to figure out what you have and how to deal with it, and medications, it takes a while to adapt because medications for like bipolar stuff. It's usually the same kind of medications that work for like seizures. Um, and
They
it
had,
takes like weeks and like months to adapt to that. You get all
yeah,
sorts of symptoms. They are hard. So I understand that when you are like really bad, like your mental health is just like crap and you're trying to figure this out, I can see that you don't have a lot of energy for anything else in your life. But dude, if you have a child, I understand you needing help with your child, but she would just neglected her child.
yeah,
And she just uses that as oh, but my pills, oh, but my meds, but my sleep, it was just me and sleep and my meds and me. Like that's all she says.
yep,
And I can understand her being kind of like, I'm not defending her, but I'm just trying to be fair. Like I can understand her being obsessed with her meds in the way because she's like, oh my God, I finally found something that helps me.
right,
I can see that, and I can like I'll allow that. I'm just trying to be fair to her as a person. Like oh my God, I have to take my pills on time. I have to eat. I have to make sure she does need to sleep.
yep,
Everybody needs to sleep. But we get on her case because it's like my sleep and my pills and my sleep and my pills and my sleep
yeah,
and my pills and my sleep and my pills. It's like
yep,
yeah, girl, but what about your child?
right, exactly.
So why did I start talking about this? Oh yeah, but and I don't know, I lose my train of thought. That's ADHD for you.
Yeah,
But wait, what was I gonna say? I'm sorry.
you're good.
Oh yeah, because a lot of people that defend this potato is like, oh, but and like that kind of medication, it can really leave you kind of like a zombie. I stopped taking my medication on my own, and I said I'm not taking any more meds because they never help because it misdiagnosed wrong medication, and it made me feel like a zombie, but not to the point of where like I don't have kids, all right? My kids are my cats. They're my children. You know what I mean? And I know it's not the same thing, but it's like the same thing. But
Right.
I still had a full-time heart, and I know just because I can do it doesn't mean that everybody's able to do it. Some people just can't. But she's
Yeah.
like so happy to be on disability. She even has like a handicap sticker in her car. Bullshit. She doesn't
Right.
need that.
Nope.
I don't believe it. She's just doing this because she has disability from the government. She's like really juicing that oh, I'm disabled because she was raped on a date. And I'm not like, I'm sure many people on here have been SA'd. I have.
Yeah. I mean, it
And the
happens.
traumatic, yeah, and I know that trauma can mess you up to where it's hard to keep a job, and ADHD and bipolar, all these things can mess you up. But we see that she can't keep a job, but the way she talks, like I was always trying. She's not trying. She's not trying to keep a job. She's not trying
No.
to do anything. She's not trying to be a responsible adult that is actually literally struggling with her mental health, which I'm sure she was and is. But I feel like she's almost like just using it as a crutch now, as like, oh, I have a 13-year-old and I need a damn babysitter to help her take her pills on time and help her get her night routine. Like I think she's 12. She knows how to brush her teeth and take a shower and put on pajamas and go to bed.
Yeah.
How many of us here? I mean, I was a latchkey kid, Gen X. How many of us here would get home and we had to almost like raise ourselves because our parents were working? And we
Right.
were babysitting when we were 12, 13 years old, and we could at least pop a frozen pizza in the thing and eat in the microwave like leftovers and brush our own damn teeth by ourselves. And our parents didn't need to tell us,
Right.
So it's like, it's infuriating because she used this as an excuse. And yes, I'm sure she does have mental problems. I mean, clearly she has mental problems, but she has character problems. But like, yeah, I'm sure that that's a big part of her not being. Nobody's a perfect parent, but she's using this as a crutch. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't know if you guys disagree, but
No, you're good. Miss Holmes, if I can find it, yeah, Miss Holmes said real quick, there's another story there that Jen hasn't told for the reason Jen wanted Stephen Stearns there that weekend. Help with the dog, help with Maddie. Why did she need extra help that weekend? Which is a good question. she had just started her job and needed help because of that, supposedly. But like we just pointed out, she had off for like 2 days afterwards. There's no reason she needed help that specific weekend. Actually, she probably didn't need the extra help that weekend. And so it takes me back to where Stefan is stressed out because he found out information about Maddie on that Saturday. And that would tell me that, did Jen possibly know, say, hey, there's a situation here. You need to get down here. We need help with this. We need to figure this out. And something bad happened, would be a speculation I would have, taken those facts into consideration. Terry said, what I don't understand is if we on all these YouTube channels can see through all her lies, why on earth can't LE see what I see? She's blatantly lying and getting away with it. And Needs Some Z's right here said, the investigators see the red flags. Just because they aren't reacting to our comments doesn't mean they don't notice these things. And I think it does fall along those lines. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, because they need to build a solid case against her, I'm sure. I hope. You know, it's not just, you know, that cops take months and years to build a case against someone so they can go to trial.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yep. I think they want to make sure they get Stefan because they have to make it look good for the jury. The more witnesses and testimony you have against this person, the more you're likely you're going to get a conviction. And I'm looking into some things. I'm going to find out, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure I'm not, the trial in February, the preliminaries in February, and then the trials in September, that's for the CSAM stuff, which also carries the death penalty. But I want to reiterate, that's not the murder trial. And they need Jen to testify in the CSAM trial, from what I understand. Like, there's a list of witnesses and she's on it, and that would be for the CSAM. She's not, I don't think they've set a trial for the murder yet.
Yeah, they're just getting him for that. I mean, he's screwed. He's never leaving prison, no matter what, you know? And yeah, even the grandmother said that since Jen was like doing this training, she would come. I guess she was working like the night shift at that Disney concierge hotel, whatever. Her part-time job that seemed to be this huge deal. Again, you know, I understand that if her mental health is really messed up, a part-time job can seem like even too much. But it's like she's not even trying, you know. But anyways, the grandmother did say that on these nights that she was working late because she was doing training, that Maddie would stay over.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. I mean, what better place to leave in this case to, like, I mean, you know, the grandma worked close to her school. Maybe she could have dropped her off. She could, I don't know. Her family dynamics seems kind of weird, but she doesn't need this giant baby man child to be the babysitter. She had her mom.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Hio gifted 5 memberships. If you guys were gifted, please tell Hio thank you. And thank you, Hio, for being so supportive and so sweet. You are such an amazing person. I really love you so much. Thank you. I'll play our clip real quick. And real quick, before I do that, if you guys wouldn't mind, please hit the thumbs up so that we can get out into the algorithm and more people can come hang out with the Speculating family and be part of our family. I'll play this clip real quick. Thank you, Hio, for being so supportive. You are such an amazing person. Cozy Joy said to stop. You were telling her story a minute ago. I thought that was cute.
Oh yeah, with the mental health. Yeah, like it's serious, you know, like just to be like fair. Because we're not like ragging on her because she has a mental like mental illness, you know. We're not ragging on her because of that. And I can understand, because if you have really bad mental problems like that, like a neurodivergency or a mood disorder, like bipolar disorder is serious. It can really mess up your life, you know. And then if it's a battle to find a doctor, and to find a doctor that like diagnoses you correctly. I mean, it's been like 20 years for me trying to figure out, and doctors and pills and meds that don't work and whatever, trying to figure it out, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's a full-time job having a mental problem or a physical problem sometimes, you know? So I can understand that, but you know what? In the end of the day, that is no excuse. I don't know, for you like neglecting your child like that. Because if you're
Right.
so bad off, you could say, "Mom, could you take Maddie for a month or two for me to like get used to this medication?" I mean, she didn't have a good relationship with her mother. Um, you know what I mean? Like she could have. I'm sure her mother would have taken Maddie for like a while.
Yeah. Right. I'll go ahead and play this.
Else she takes at night?
Just hydroxyzine.
All right. And the Miralax is when?
Miralax is,
So that would have been earlier while you were at work too if she took it?
yeah.
May not have because she was at the party?
Yeah, because I had been training at work that week and we had been going back and forth with my mom's a lot. The Miralax wasn't consistent.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
All right. Now, Madeline, does she?
Wait a minute. Okay, I've stated, and let me reiterate this trigger warning right now. I'm about to get real triggered. Well, I'm triggered, but you know what I'm about to say might trigger some people. Let me just put that out there. Okay, you know that Stefan's kink is anal, okay? And you got your child on Miralax, okay, while they're sleeping in the bed. And while I've stated that alone is definitely not a reason for you to think something's going on, okay? Because there's children that deal with constipation due to medication and all of that, okay? But that coupled with all of the other signs, the bipolar at the age of 12, the acting out, the being upset, the weird comments that I know were happening in that house. Stefan, you know, saying while they were sitting all together that them two want to go upstairs and be alone to, you know, have snacks and watch movies in his room by themselves. Just all of these weird things put together tell me that there was so many signs that Jen didn't see. But now I'm hearing that she didn't take the Miralax while she was at her grandma's house. And again, you know, coupled with all these things, you still didn't think that was weird? That she only needed Miralax while she was at the house. I wonder if she needed Miralax during the time that Stefan was supposedly gone. Like, I would love to know the answer from that to that question from her. That's a question I have. I want to hear that one more time. We're going to play that back.
Okay. And is that something that she's allowed to do?
From time to time, yeah.
When you say they, is there what my understanding was there was some hydroxyzine? Is there anything else she takes at night?
Just hydroxyzine.
All right. And the Miralax is when?
Miralax is,
It's redacted.
So that would have been earlier while you were at work too if she took it?
yeah.
May not have because she was at the party?
Yeah, because I had been training at work that week and we had been going back and forth with my mom's a lot. The Miralax wasn't consistent.
Okay. All right. Now.
Thank you, Annie Ruler, for being here. Miss King of Anything said she was not bipolar. She had ADHD. Yes, she had ADHD and she was on medication for that. She was on the Vistaril for bipolar. And the friend said that she was bipolar and had bipolar medication. And I think the counselor said it too. We're going to go through those interviews in the next couple of days and
I think
review
they
that.
think she's bipolar because of mood deregulation, you know?
Yeah.
Like I
And
said, it's very common for people with ADHD, especially women, to get misdiagnosis having bipolar. That happened to me because
yeah,
a lot of times the biggest issue, you're like mood disorder, and they go, bipolar, and they don't even take a look at anything else. And ADHD causes impulsive behavior, which people, I mean, now we're more. I asked my doctor this. I'm like, how come so many people just get misdiagnosed like that? And he said, well, you know, in the past we didn't even know that much about ADHD that we know as we know today.
right.
So, her best friend said she would be acting like really impulsive. And people think, oh, deregulated mood, oh, doing impulsive things, you're bipolar, like you're having a manic episode. But just doing a random impulsive thing is not mania. You know, there's like, it's way more than that. So that's why I think, my opinion, that's why I think people thought that Maddie was bipolar, because Jen is bipolar.
Yeah. Cara, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I'll play our clip one more time since we're right here at the end of Christmas. Thank you so much. That is super supportive of you, and that was so sweet. If you guys were gifted a membership from Cara, please tell her thank you. And thank you guys for being so supportive of the Speculating family over here. You guys are amazing and so sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much. I heard from another creator that there's a music place called Licked where you can buy songs, and I'm going to do my best to buy like Crazy Train or something for our new clip, but I've been so busy I haven't had time to do anything. Hey, Jay, thank you for being here. Jay said Jen Soto had to make money off of the books or she would lose disability, which is true. So she does this by renting rooms and whatever Stephen Stern was doing. Yep. She actually the mother references that when she said she wouldn't keep a job very long, and she said it's because she was afraid she would lose her disability. And you're absolutely right. Hey, Liddy.
Madeline, does she lay out her clothes for school the next day, or is that something she gets in the morning, makes a game time decision like my kid?
Typically, it is a game time decision morning of.
Okay. What about this specific evening? Do you remember anything about it?
Yes. This evening, we had, I had already discussed prior to Stefan coming to visit that he was going to help me take Maddie to school that day. So because I knew that that was what was going to happen that night, I had asked Maddie, pick out your clothes, have everything ready, have your backpack ready, your water bottle, everything you need ready so that way you could just grab your stuff and head out. It won't be too much of a hassle in the morning. And so she did. She picked out her clothing. I asked her what she was wearing, and she told me what she had picked out. I said, okay, fine.
All right, so she picks it out, but does she physically take it out of somewhere, wherever she stores her clothes, and put it somewhere?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Hey, Andrea. Toxic, I don't know if you saw my comment, but I'm going to talk to YouTube about why you keep getting passed over and see if I can figure it out.
I'm not sure if she took that clothes upstairs with her or anything like that.
All right.
Cozy, did you want to say something? I see you're unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said, well, Maddie wore the same thing every day. Like her friend, she would say she would wear that sweater that she got and
The
like
hoodie, yeah.
shorts and Crocs every day. You know, she doesn't have to pick out her clothing. She wears the same thing every day. It's, you know what I mean? Like when you listen to all these interviews and you read everything and you rewatch these videos 100 times like we've done, you start to see that everything she's saying is a lie. Oh yeah, she picked out her outfit. Dude, she wears the same thing every day.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not saying that like to criticize her or anything. I'm just saying her friend said she always wore the hoodie and the spandex shorts and Crocs.
yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. I saw something. Oh, is it Megan? Megan, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. And I'm glad that you're okay. Now, Toxic said, was Jen on any form of disability? Was Maddie in disability for her ADHD and bipolar? If so, that could also be why she kept her money. Maybe. Kalisa, thank you for being here. Kalisa said, yeah, I think Maddie had her own room when Grandpa Juan lived with them. I couldn't see. That was weird to me because I know Juan owns the house. So, and I know her grandpa loved her very much. So I would think that he would have thought she had her own room. Sarah said they
how...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're
sorry,
good.
finish.
Oh, I was just saying, Sarah said they treated Maddie like she was helpless and completely cognitively disabled. Total BS, in my opinion. I agree.
Yeah, like I've even gotten mad. Like I can't believe the grandfather. When she was asked why Maddie didn't have her own room, she said because her father wanted rent for that room.
Yep.
Okay, first of all, now like hearing the grandfather like cry about Maddie, he was the only one that cried about Maddie. I would very much doubt that he would make her pay, again, my speculation, right? So Maddie could have her own bedroom. I would want my grandchild to have her own bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Second of all, Jen had the master bedroom with a king size bed. She doesn't need a king size bed.
No, she could have put her in there.
She could have put 2 twin beds because she doesn't also, she, at the same time that she says, like in the same breath that Jen says, oh, Maddie slept with me every night. And then she would say, but she kicks and punches and she rolls over me and she's a gymnast. I mean, so
Yeah.
she complains about it. So, okay. So that's why your daughter is in that corner in the living room with zero privacy.
Yeah. Yeah. She could
And then
have.
she
She
has
could
to
have
go
put.
sleep in the room upstairs with that monster. Like why didn't she have 2 beds, 2 small like twin beds in her master bedroom? That way they could each have her own bed and she wouldn't be kicking and punching in the middle of the night.
Yeah, she could have put a twin bed and a queen size or whatever, or she could have moved some of the shelves or something and had the king size with the twin bed.
Yeah.
I think Jenny Jim brought that up the first time when I did one of my very first lives on this channel. That's the question we had, because
There's
that's
no
what we would have
excuse.
done. We would have put a
I
twin.
doubt that I don't think the grandfather would be like, no, for her to have her own room, you're gonna have to pay rent for that room. I doubt it now,
Right.
hearing the way the grandfather loved Maddie, So
Yep.
and I wonder if maybe like I kick too, like I roll around in bed, I kick and punch, like to this day. But I wonder if maybe Maddie didn't kick and punch in bed because she was trying to get away from Stinky, who would be cuddling her at night because they all slept together like one great big family.
Right.
I wonder. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, I'll play this. Hey, Crystal.
So as far, you didn't see them in your room, and
Hey, Janet.
did you have the opportunity to kind of see her cubby part of the living room to see if she had put them on her bed or anything like that?
I haven't seen them.
Does Madeline have like a water bottle or a hydro flask or whatever the kids call it that she likes to sleep with and bring up or bring wherever she's sleeping?
Typically not. That stays downstairs in her backpack, and then she'll clean it in the morning and then fill it back up. And
I was just thinking, I was like, why are you asking if Maddie basically had a sippy cup? But I assume he means like, how you would set a cup on your nightstand and drink from it, because I do that. So I was about to have a problem with that.
leave it in her backpack. That typically stays in the backpack.
Okay. Favorite stuffed animal or stuffed animals? Anything that always goes with her wherever she's sleeping?
She does have a few stuffies and blankies. Did I see any that day?
Yeah, specifically, did you see if she brought any of that stuff upstairs with her?
No, I didn't see any of that stuff upstairs.
Now, a separate question. Generally, habitually, like your attorney was saying, there's a difference between specific memory, but generally, would she do that? Not saying that you saw it that night.
Generally, would she do what?
Have stuffies and blankets and her favorite stuff.
Yes. She typically would.
So if Stefan says something like Maddie's building her nest and getting settled in,
that shit makes me sick to hear him say that.
Would that to you mean like her stuff is part of this nest, or what do you think that would mean if you know?
I'm going to pause that right there. Corey brought up something that we've talked about, and I'm going to give another trigger warning because I'm about to get real graphic and it's going to be upsetting. Corey said maybe she was punching and kicking Stefan for touching her. And that was brought up. Somebody said in a comment or somewhere that, like, and it's hard to think about, but what if Maddie punching and kicking when they were supposedly all three sleeping in the bed together was because of what Stefan was doing? When you take into consideration at the end of this second reading of the indictment that I've been doing, it talks about how he would put his junk in her mouth while she was asleep and hands other places while she was trying to sleep. And somebody asked, maybe she was kicking and all of that because he was doing things to her and she was trying to basically run away from him in the bed. And that really broke my heart because as a mother, she's trying to get away from him. If that's true, we're all just speculating. And she just can't be bothered with Maddie's feelings and emotions, and is upset that she's kicking her and trying to basically get away from him. So she sends him to be with him. Like, it really broke my heart to even think about that, but it is a possibility. Jay said, I'm sorry, my thing popped up and said he was found. Somebody commented he was found. I'm wondering what that was in reference to. And so it sidetracked me. I have ADHD too. I apologize. Jay said Jen Soto is taking sedation meds should have helped her fully pass out. The way both Jen Soto and Stephen Stearns disparage Maddie says a lot about how they didn't care about her. I think so too. Hey, Eek, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here, love. And Brenda, it's good to see you. And thank you for being here as well. Brenda said all they thought about was meds, napping, and eating. I want her locked up. I think we all do.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you recall getting that text from Stefan that?
I'm going to back it up just a little bit and this is he's talking about that freaking nest.
Fees and blankets and her favorite stuff.
Yes, she typically would.
So if Stefan says something like Maddie's building her nest and getting settled in, would that to you mean like her stuff is part of this nest, or what do you think that would mean if you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you recall getting that text from Stefan that night?
So how are you not sure when he texted you and said Maddie is building her nest? Is something that has been stated to you before, or something you have both referenced? Like, my husband is not going to text me and say, the kids are building their nest and me not know what it is. Like, that's not something that happens. If you use a statement like building her nest, like, you've used that statement before. Jen absolutely knows what it means. It's something that you two talk about or has been said before. Again, you're lying. Eek, it is so good to see you. Everybody here misses you so much. I know you've had a lot going on and you've been working, but you are so loved and everybody misses you so much.
That night that Maddie had settled into her nest for the night?
I don't remember the text. No.
Okay. My understanding was that at some point you told them it was time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Do you recall about what time that was?
Around 11 o'clock.
So that's consistent with getting home at 10:30, having this half-hour discussion and eating your pub sub?
And then that goes back to Jen being in control of the relationship, which I've stated the way she consoles Stefan on the interview for the news is like she's a mother and he's the child. She sends, quote, them to bed, not Maddie, but she sends both of them to bed. Like, again, she is the one in control. She's the mother. She's the parent of these two children. She calls them a man child, and she says that she had to text him and say, okay, Maddie has to go to bed now. I think that she's the mastermind and plays stupid and blames it on her medication. Hey, Lisa is me. Good to see you today. Hey, May. Thank you for being here. May said Jen and Maddie got to an argument or a fight after her birthday. Then they were Googling how to terminate a pregnancy because they thought she was pregnant, and they took it too far, in my opinion. Lock them up. I haven't seen the Googles. I'll have to look at that. I don't know if they were Googling how to terminate that or not. I've heard both things be said, that in Florida, if a person is pregnant and they are murdered, that the person who murdered them would get a charge for both the child and the unborn child and the person they murdered. But I've also, from what I understand, if the child's not viable outside the womb, it's not an extra charge. I tried to look it up, but I did not understand the legalese of it. So I'm going to look more into that. And then Cara said, God, I don't know if I zoned out, but if you think Maddie building a nest out of blankets is really probably her building a barrier to keep Stefan away. Absolutely. And then last real quick, Need Some Z said, I don't believe they actually felt like Maddie was cognitively delayed. I think that's what she wants investigators to believe, that Jen was a good parent. Great point. Very possible.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. Do they comply with your wishes to go upstairs when you say that at about 11 o'clock?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Is there any further communication between either you and Madeline or you and Stefan about, all right, kids, it's time to go to bed, anything like that? Or was that the last you had heard from either one of them that night?
So again, he picks up on it right there where he's like, all right, kids, plural, time to go to bed. Let's back it up about 10 seconds. Listen to that again. Kids, plural. All right, kids, plural. It's time to go to bed.
It's time to go to bed, anything like that? Or was that the last you had heard from either?
I didn't take it back quite far enough. Let's take it back to 14. Oh, no, that's where we're at. I apologize. Let's take it right here. Listen how he says kids, plural. It's time to go to bed.
She does have a few stuffies and blankies. Did I see any that day?
Yeah, specifically, did you see if she brought any of that stuff upstairs with her?
No, I didn't see any of that stuff upstairs.
Now, separate question. Generally, habitually, like your attorney was saying, there's a difference between specific memory, but generally, would she do that? Not saying that you saw it that night.
Generally, would she do what?
Have stuffies and blankets and her favorite stuff.
Yes, she typically would.
So if Stefan says something like Maddie's building her nest and getting settled in, would that to you mean like her stuff is part of this nest, or what do you think that would mean if you know?
I took it back too far, but he's about to say them, plural. Send them to bed.
I'm not sure.
Kids.
Okay. Do you recall getting that text from
I apologize. He says kids, plural.
On that night that Maddie had settled into her nest for the night?
I don't remember the text now.
Okay. My understanding was that at some point you told them it was time to go to bed.
Them.
Yeah.
Them.
Do you recall about what time that was?
Around 11 o'clock.
So that's consistent with getting home at 10:30, having this half-hour discussion and eating your pub sub? Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. Do they comply with your wishes to go upstairs when you say that at about 11 o'clock?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Is there any further communication between either you and Madeline or you and Stefan about, all right, kids, it's time to go to bed?
All right, kids, it's time to go to bed.
Kids.
Send them to bed. All right, kids. Talking to a grown-ass man and your underage daughter. Kids, it's time to go to bed. Again, mastermind. She's the freaking mastermind. Cara said in Florida, the abobo law is 6 weeks. So if Maddie was more than 6 weeks along, getting an abobo is illegal and you can face jail time for unaliving someone. So if Maddie was with child, then Stefan could get the unaliving for Maddie and the unborn child if she was 6 weeks. I know. But the friend said she was 2 weeks late and then started, so I don't know if she was or not. But thank you for letting me know what the law was. And also, real quick, hey, Robin, and hey, Teresa. Cozy, if you wanted to say something, I'm sorry I cut you off.
That's all I was going to say. Send them to bed. Send the kids to bed.
Yep.
You know, they have such a weird dynamic. And I know that families have different dynamics, right? I get it. But, like, this is a toxic, abusive situation because, like, in Jen's interview, she says, in one of her interviews, she says, because we were all the same. I don't remember what the question was, but she said that to the cops, like, oh, but we were all the same. So she, you know, Stinky had ADHD, took a bunch of meds. This one has bipolar, takes a bunch of meds. And then she's trying to paint Maddie as this helpless child who has like all these problems and oh my gosh, and it's so complicated taking care of her. And she says that, and I wonder what she meant by like, oh, I thought we were, because we were all the same, the three of them, and they would sleep all together in the same bed. Like, what a weird dynamic. Like, you know, like it's so weird.
Yep.
And then she sends them to bed. If all you know is, yeah, this mother sent her child to bed with a man in another room, like right there, that's like the biggest red flag ever.
Yep. Hey, Redacted. Veronica said real quick, Jen never went upstairs to check room 4 to see if she can notice why Maddie was, quote, missing. Who does that? Well, she says, she messes up and says, I think he drugged her and choked her in the interview we just went over because there wasn't a mess upstairs. And then she says, she tries to catch herself and said, right, there wasn't a mess upstairs, right? So she went upstairs. She knew she went upstairs. She knew what happened, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, and the way she lays it out, she even references putting Maddie in the trunk, which the detectives call her on it. They're like, that's oddly specific that you would say that, and we know that's exactly what happened. So yeah, all of that's weird to me.
Anything like that, or was that the last you had heard from either one of them that night?
I think at some point Stefan comes downstairs to use the restroom and then goes back upstairs, but after that, I don't recall interacting or saying anything. So.
Okay. And my understanding is that you had some sort of parental controls over Maddie's phone. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure by parental controls exactly. I didn't have any limits or anything on the phone set up.
Well, like for instance, if she wanted to install Game Pigeon, does that have to go through you?
Yeah. So any permissions for any apps, she would have to ask me for.
All right, and does that ring a bell as to occurring that Sunday? Game Pigeon? Okay. All right. So that's
Toxic. Maddie did not have her own room. She had a little nook with like a partition that had holes in it so you could see right through it. And the counselor references Maddie saying that Stefan would sit on the couch and it made her really uncomfortable. There is a picture of the couch in relation to her room. I'll actually work on trying to pull that up to show you. And Flora W said the dogs alerted to her car, not the Lincoln. And that's absolutely correct. Now we know she was in the Lincoln because Stefan got a flat tire placed in her body where she was, but the dogs alerted to her car, and she specifically says in the trunk of my car, and it was the back of the car that the dogs alert to. That's in the canine search video on my page. I'll find a picture of that room.
That's the last time you hear from either one of them until the morning. My understanding is that Stefan comes down and is dealing with your dog. Is there any communication other than perhaps Stefan coming down to use the restroom? Is there any other communication that you have between Stefan and Maddie? Do you see them? Now I've said communicate. Do you see them? Do you go up and check on them? Do you see Madeline or Stefan from the point you kick them out at 11 p.m. until you see Stefan at 8 in the morning-ish is what you guess for the dog?
No, I didn't see them.
Okay. Now, when you go to sleep, do you sleep through the night, or do you wake up and not have consistent good sleep?
I sleep through the night.
Okay. So there wouldn't be any points in time where you get up and you're taking steps or just checking on your phone because you can't go back to sleep? As far as you remember, when you go to sleep, you're out until the dog thing in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you hear or see anything during those hours involving Stefan?
It's very possible, Jen. That room divider is on Amazon. We got the that I'll show you what that boy is because I'm feeling like it's a bunch of BS right now too. He's calling Jen on her BS, and I'm gonna let him say it for you real quick.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
He's
That's
so
what's
cute.
going. I know, I love that. That's what's going on in this picture in this video.
Or Madeline?
I didn't hear or see anything that night.
Okay. All right. What's the first thing you remember when you wake up after having gone to sleep?
I wake up to Stefan trying to put the leash on the dog.
Okay. Now, is this
Now, I wonder, let's go with the theory that Jen didn't know necessarily that Madeline was deceased. Was Stefan in that room trying to get the Crocs to put on Maddie's feet to make it look like Maddie left that morning, and he was able to get one while he was putting the leash on the dog while Jen was asleep, but then Jen woke up like she's about to tell us that she did, or she did in one of the other interviews as well, and he wasn't able to get the second Croc? Was my question. That would explain why that second Croc was in her room.
You have a
Is this
theory
the first time that you've ever woken up
on
to
this?
Stefan trying?
What's your theory?
Sorry,
You're good.
he didn't come in. He didn't come in to put the leash on the dog. That's bullshit.
Uh-huh.
I imagine that, right? We're all just speculating. That this was a moment when maybe he came in and woke up Jen and was like, we got a problem. Like, it went downhill.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I get when she's like, oh, he came in to put the leash on the dog. He never walked the dog. Nobody walked the dog.
No. Well,
You know,
yeah.
at least that day. And then the leash was on the shelf in her room. And then she like jumped up in bed. And then he's like, oh no, go back to sleep. So I wonder if maybe he said like, we got a problem, like something happened, it got out of control. We
Yeah.
gotta deal with this.
Yep.
Because she knew. I don't think she planned it. She knew it was happening. She knew the abuse was happening for sure.
I think so. Yeah. I don't
She's
I don't
not a
understand
smart
how she
person,
did
but
that.
she's not that stupid.
Right.
She's not the brightest crane in the box by any means, but she's not that stupid where she thinks that a pervert isn't doing stuff to her child. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In this situation. So yeah, exactly, Flora. The room you said the dog was on the couch.
Yeah. Veronica said the dog thing is a lie too. The time that she says that happened, Stephen Stearns had been driving Maddie for a while, never happened. I didn't know that. I need to do the timeline. I need to write that down. And thank you for that information. Hey, Brenda. Brenda said the dogs alerted on both cars seen in one of the interviews. Yeah, I have that out on my page. And it didn't look like they alerted to Stefan's Lincoln to me, but I definitely could be wrong about that. And thank you for that correction. Jen said, I'm also thinking Jen must have known because by the time Maddie's phone was powered off, it's cutting a little close to when the roommate's getting ready to leave with her son. Oh, thank you for that. I didn't realize that, and thank you. One of the roommates said the dog stayed by the couch, not in the bedroom. Oh, wow, thank you. Y'all got all the deets. Thank you. The dog, is their dog, Sailor the pet. Yes. Liddy said tools on the kitchen table, the leash, all of that. Yep. Yes, what more than one dog can't be a coincidence, in my opinion. Yep.
Trying to put a leash on your dog, or is that something that has occurred before in the past?
I'm gonna say this is the first time. It's not normal for any of us to put the leash on the dog on the bed, because if he's on top of any like bed, couch, anything, he'll pee. He gets really nervous. You have to do it on the floor. So I found it really weird that he did that. But
all right, so let me ask it a little more broadly. Is this the first time Stefan's ever come into your room while you're sleeping to take the dog out for you in the morning? I can't recall if he's done it before. Okay. Did you find it unusual then, or what did you think when this is occurring?
When it happened, I think it was more, I found it off, but I was more worried over the dog. I was like, please don't pee on the bed. I don't want to do laundry.
Okay.
So I was more anxious over that.
This poor dog even had anxiety in this house.
I was gonna say,
Like,
even the animals had mental problems in his house.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm like cracking up here.
No, you're good.
Somebody here said that he took her out at 5 a.m. Whose comment? I just missed it.
Somebody said they took
Veronica.
her out.
I thought SS took Maddie out of the condo around 5 a.m. That's when no one saw him. But like he wouldn't take her out of the the condo at 5 a.m. and then put her sitting up in the car and then
Well, he
leave at
could have.
7:30. But then like he wouldn't put, oh my God, I can't talk. I just ate
You're good.
like Christmas leftovers. I can't even talk.
You're good.
You know, he wouldn't have snuck her out of the condo at 5 a.m. to put her in the car sitting up, because then she's going to be just sitting up in the car from 5 to 7
Well,
a.m.
yeah. But I do question how he got her out of the house. Like, he took her out super early. Let's say everybody was sleeping at that point in time, right? But okay, now let's think about a deceased person. Number one, how are you carrying that out of the house? Like, my first thought would be he wrapped her up in a blanket or something and threw her over his shoulder, or carried her like a baby or something like that. But how are
I wonder
you?
if Jen helped him carry the body out of the condo, because like he's tall, but he's not flabby. He's not a physical, like he's like Dungeons and Dragons nerd. You know what I mean? And I love nerds, but he's not like a physical person. He's all flabby, not a shape. He's like 37 and he's 80. I would imagine that he might not even be strong enough to carry,
Well, when you add
Maddie's body out of the condo. I wonder
when
if
you
he got Jen to help.
when you add adrenaline, I think he would have been able to. But my
Oh
issue
yeah, that's
is,
true.
at 7 o'clock in the morning, how are you doing that without anybody else in the neighborhood seeing you? Because they live in like an apartment area or condo area. At 7 o'clock in the morning, other people are going to be getting up and getting out and going to work, going to, taking kids to school, all of
Yeah.
those things. Veronica also said there was leashes in the car because it was used as a poodle ambulance, and that's actually absolutely correct.
Because like, okay, let's say he took her out of the condo at 5 a.m. and
Uh-huh.
and put her in his car, but then she wouldn't be propped up from 5 a.m. until 7 when he left. He might have put her in the car laying down. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if he put the body, poor Maddie, in the car and just kind of like leaned her over, maybe covered her with a blanket, whatever, then people walking around going to their cars wouldn't have seen her. And then when it was like time to leave to take her to school, he could have just
Uh-huh.
pushed her up so she would be sitting up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
a
mean, that is a good
possibility.
question. Yeah, I'm not like trying to like disprove
No,
Rock
no.
or anything. We're just like, we're all like trying to figure it out.
No, yeah, and we're just speculating, and yeah, that's a good theory. I mean,
Yeah,
because
he had a sex doll at home. It was a torso, according to the mom. Those
yeah,
things are heavy. They're made of like silicone. Those things are heavy. I mean, I guess he could be strong enough to pick her up.
yeah. Yeah, and her roommate, Anders said yes, and her roommate used to leave around 7:30, I think. Right. So how did you get her out? Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're
And that's the
figuring.
time that he said that he left, because he's like, oh, he made a really good time. Yeah, she has to be at school for the first bell at 9:30, and you're leaving 2 hours prior because you got to get McDonald's.
Yeah.
McDonald's is like 10 minutes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I think it was like 20 minutes. The school was maybe 20 minutes away. You don't need to be out of the house 2 hours prior. And you're not going to drop off some kid 1 hour before school starts
Right.
across the road, because the church was across the road. It was like almost like a highway or something that she had to cross to get to school.
Oh yeah, it was way out of the way. May said,
Yeah.
if she was with child and the killer, wouldn't they both get in trouble for unaliving the child? And Flora W said if she was more than 6 weeks with child, she would have, but not if she wasn't more than 6 weeks in
Yeah.
Florida. Most of the time
It's
it's
like,
if
I'm
the baby's
sorry. Go
viable
ahead.
outside the womb. Go ahead.
It's like a lot of coincidences.
Yep.
It's a lot of like firsts. Oh, he never took her to school. He never took the dog out. He never walked the dog. He never took her to school. He never did this. She never forgot her phone, because she didn't. The cop said she never forgot her phone. Jen's
Yep.
like, oh, really? All she does is talk smack about Maddie. Oh, she forgets her phone every day. No.
Nope.
Even the detective was like, no, she doesn't, because according to the data, she has her phone on her every day.
Yep.
Oh, she forgot her phone that day, and then he forgot his phone that day, and then he took her. It was like a lot of firsts, a lot
Yep.
of um um just coincidences, and then and then he's like, it was just any other day. It was just like any other day. No, it wasn't like any other day. It was completely different from every other day in this poor girl's life.
Yep. Toxic, he covered for the McDonald's thing by saying she changed her mind and he asked her twice. Jen said that Stephen was at the dumpsters around 7:35. Right. I mean, but if like you take her out, let's say even at 7 o'clock, somebody's going to see you.
Yeah, I think somebody here mentioned maybe it was Jen sitting in the car, but it wasn't, because when they caught, and that image was redacted. They never they blocked it out. They blacked it out, so we never got to see it. But like when cameras, like traffic cameras or whatever, saw his car, and they saw Maddie in the front seat, and she was like slumped over, like really slumped over with her mouth hanging open. She didn't look alive, and that was like even the image that the cops showed Jen
Right.
to try to convince
Mason,
her that Maddie wasn't even alive, So
yeah. May said yes, but how can she want anything or talk to him if she was already passed away? Well, we know that, and Stefan knew that she was already passed away, but he made up that story to make everybody believe that those things happened, even though she was already passed away.
yeah, and Maddie ate breakfast every day, according to Jen. And on this day, she didn't have breakfast because she left real early. They made such good timing. And
Yep.
what kid says no to McDonald's?
Right.
If I had breakfast and someone was like, "You want to go to McDonald's?" I'm like, "Yup, I would just eat again."
Yeah. My kid, I don't let my kids eat McDonald's. I don't let them, I'll tell you, fun fact, I don't even use a microwave in my house because I'm concerned about the radiation that the microwave uses to cook the food, because I worry about them so much. So if they get McDonald's, they're like over the moon about it, because like sometimes the neighbors will bring them some McDonald's. And yeah, any kid, even though like I eat McDonald's all the time and I still never said no to McDonald's or fast food. She didn't, like, but again, we know it was a story.
The dog on the leash and told me to lay down and go back to sleep. And I said, okay.
So were you not laying down when he tells you to go back and lay down?
No, when he put the leash on the dog, I shot off the bed because I was going to help him. I was like, no, let me do it. And he's like, no, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this.
Okay.
I said, okay.
Now, do you go back to sleep or do you check your phone or do anything?
I think I go back to sleep. I look at anything.
In this period of time that you have been awoken by Stefan, do you hear or see anybody else in your household?
I hear somebody in the kitchen. I'm not sure who it was.
Okay. Could you identify it by size, like their steps? Could you identify gender by their voice? Anything like that?
All I heard was sounds of like cabinets shutting, like somebody in there shutting, like looking for something and shutting.
Okay.
Now, if your daughter had been awake, would she come in and say goodbye to you before school or not? Just let you sleep?
I would have hoped she would have come by and say goodbye to me.
No, she did. She would have not said goodbye to her because she probably would have got fussed at if she woke her mom up. And the whole reason that Stephen was supposed to be there was so that, quote, Jen could get some good sleep. So, no, she wouldn't have gone by and said bye. She would have probably got fussed at.
And that's not even an answer. She took like way too long. If someone, okay, allegedly speculating, do your kids come in and say bye, mom, in the morning? Do they say bye, mom, when they go to school?
Well, mine, I homeschool them, but if they go somewhere outside, they do.
Yeah, how long do you have to think about that? You don't have to think about that. She thought for seconds. She's like,
yep.
I would say, if you say, I would say, I want to say, well, they usually do this. You're not answering the question. You're deflecting. Because if you say, do you drink beer? or did you drink beer yesterday? Whatever, right? Did you eat pie yesterday? And you say, well, I don't usually eat pie on Wednesdays. That's not an
Right.
answer. I don't
Right.
care if you would do something. I asked specifically, did you do this yesterday? And he said, does she? Oh my God. He just said, did she come in to say goodbye, or does she come in to say goodbye? And she's like,
Right.
oh, I would think she would do that. I would like, what kind of an answer is that?
Right.
She can't, she doesn't need, she's such a terrible mother. She's a birther. She was just an egg and a womb. I'm sorry. Like Maddie deserved a real mom,
Yeah.
because
And the
she
time
she doesn't even know how to pretend to be a good mom.
right. And the time like you were saying, the amount of time it takes her to think of the answer is astonishing. And I hate the way she says, instead of saying my bad or, oh, I meant this, she says, just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah. Like some answers you don't have to think about. Does she come in
Right.
to say bye, mom, when she goes to school? Yeah, she does. No, she doesn't.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
I can't remember if this is one of the first times that Stefan actually took her to school, so I would have hoped she would have said good night, but I'm not sure.
All right, so do you fall back asleep?
Hey, David, thank you for being here.
I do.
And when do you wake up and how do you wake up?
I wake up at like 9 o'clock in the morning to my alarm. I wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning to my alarm. I get ready. I think at around 9:30, 9:45, I leave for my doctor's appointment.
Okay. So in this period of time from when you're waking up and getting ready, do you see anybody else in your home?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no, ma'am?
At this point, I'm not too sure. I know.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Vicky, thank you for being here.
Throughout the day, I've seen my roommate in the kitchen cooking and doing her thing, but I don't
Me too,
recall
Vicky.
if it was at this time.
Did you see your daughter this morning on the 26th?
No.
Did you have any texts or phone calls or any other type of communication through any possible app on your phone? Like, hey, mom, love you at school, whatever. Any communications from Madeline?
Anything from her? Nothing.
All right. How about from Stefan by the time that you wake up at 9? Any texts or communication from him? Maddie's dropped. I'm off to the game store or whatever he's doing.
So, Kalisa or Callie, S.A. Katz says, the neighbor said Stephen had never taken her to school, and his phone showed this was the only time he went there. The best friend also said Stephen never took her to school, like ever. So again, why is he all of a sudden taking her to school on the day that we find out she's deceased? Like he never, ever took her to school any time beforehand. So again, that tells me that Jen knew something, because it was so strange for him to take her to school on that day. Even the family said Stefan never takes her to school, like ever. So he's all of a sudden taking her to school for the first time ever, and she just happens to be deceased. Right.
Yeah, this is just to use as an alibi.
Yep.
I think that he was the one that came up with the story, their cover-up story, because you can tell that she's like reciting it. Like when she gets interrupted, she goes right back to the beginning.
Yep.
If it's like a real story, someone interrupts you, you just continue where you left off. You don't start from the beginning, because if it's a lie and you have to remember it like step by step, you can't get like sidetracked or you forget the story. And then many times she would say, well, we took her to school, we took her to school, we took her to school. Yeah, they use exactly the same words. And her story is like exactly the same all the time. And like I follow a bunch of like true crime people, like the Behavior Channel, the Deception Detective, and who doesn't believe in body language, which is insane, because body language is like such a big thing. But whatever, it's interesting because he dissects and like Dr. G and Dr. Grande, like a bunch of people. So like to hit everything from like different angles. And when it's a lie, you tell that story, like the deception detective, like follow him, he's really great, because he's a lawyer and that's his specialty. So when you're telling the truth, it's common, for you to kind of like, if you have to tell that story again and again and again and again and again, of course, if it's years and years and years, it becomes like a script to you. But like in the beginning, you remember little details and your story changes a little bit, and we
Yeah.
kind of think that maybe that means that it's a lie, but on the contrary, because you're like, oh yeah. So like
Mhm.
if you tell the story again, you're going to add a detail, and when you tell the story again, you're going to add another detail. Yeah, it was totally scripted because it's exactly the same every single time, beat for beat. So when
Yep.
she keeps going, we took her to school, we took her to school, we took her to school, I can imagine these two knuckleheads sitting down and being like, okay, so like this happened, right? Should hit the fan. All right, so what happened? Let's figure this out. We can just say that she's missing. Okay, so
Yep.
we take her to school. You know what I mean? Like I can see it. I can, because he's very good with words. I hate to admit that Stinky is very good with words. He's smarter than Jen, although
Yeah.
they're both, he's way smarter than her. And I'm not saying that he's smart, but he's smarter than her. He's like better with words. So I can see him be like, all right, so we take her to school and then we drop her off, and then she's taken, she's gone, poof, problem solved.
Yep.
And then it's so weird because even her tone of in this interview, she's like really soft spoken, a lot of fading facts, because this one
Yeah.
she's got her lawyer with her, so like she knows that she's in trouble now.
Yep.
Because when the other one we had the video interview, because we had one or two audio interviews that was like in the police car, right, when she's like being driven to the police station. And then we have the body cam when the cops go to her mother's job and when they go to the condo. And then
Yeah.
the only video interview was that big long one with Detective Kevin, like amazing. When he calls her out on her bullshit, and then this is the recorded one. So all the other ones, she didn't know she was in trouble. She thought that
Yeah.
people were buying her shit. So here, she knows she's in trouble. So she's like, because her tone of voice changes when she's talking about Stinky. She perks up real fast. She knows
Yeah.
all the details about his life, the stores that he goes, and what he likes to do, and what he eats, and what he does, and like she knows all the details about his life,
Yep.
and she perks up. And then, now in this one, because she knows she's in trouble, she's like, "Oh yeah, well, I don't know."
Yeah.
Like
Yep. Good point.
mumbling, because I think she's like, "Oh no, what if I
Yeah.
say the wrong thing?" But I was gonna say something else and I forgot.
Cara said, I'm curious if any of Steppen Stern's former girlfriends had any kids or nieces that Steppen paid close attention to. I know there was the one who said he couldn't finish unless she pretended to not be living. Yeah, the thing I know about
That's a
that is the
terrifying thought.
pictures of him and Kendall, the girl Kendall, that are in one of the picture videos I have. Kendall was supposedly 14 or 15 and he was 18 or 19. That's all I know about that, but that's still a gap in age, like real big.
No, I didn't hear back from Stefan until 10, like 10:20ish, and he had told me he left his phone at home that whole morning by accident. And I had asked him how the morning went, how was Maddie, and he let me know that this morning went great. We made great time. She got busy super quick. He was going to take her to McDonald's for breakfast, but she changed her mind. All she wanted to do was sleep in the car, so he let her sleep. He took her to school and dropped her off where he said he dropped her off, and that was it.
And you had a 10:15 appointment for a blood draw?
Yes.
And did you go anywhere else prior to getting to your appointment for your blood draw? Did you go directly there or not directly there? That's basically the question.
Oh, I went directly there.
Right. And after your blood draw, did you go directly back home?
Yes.
About what time did you get home?
Sometime between 11:15 and 11:30.
Did you have any other appointments or doctor's appointments later in the day?
I was supposed to have had one, but I canceled it
When did you cancel it?
that same day
Why did you cancel it?
Botox.
because it was a $350 Botox appointment that I didn't want to spend the money on. I changed my mind last second.
When you get home from your blood draw appointment, is there anybody else at your home?
When I get home from blood draw. Yes, Stefan was home.
All right. And can you describe what he's wearing?
Well, can you describe what he's wearing? That's where we're at. Liddy said, tired of the party. Jen, I didn't hear that. I had to step away, but I carried the laptop with me. I was trying to hear, but the TV was on in the living room. So if she said that, I didn't hear that, but thank you for pointing that out if she did. Jennifer says her doctor needs to be reviewed. Giving a single mom such heavy sedatives when she needed to be coherent to raise her child. You can't medicate yourself into a coma and be a good mom. Yeah, that's a good point. But, you know, like sometimes, like for instance, I was on lithium for bipolar when my daughter was 2 years old, and I ended up stopping the medication abruptly, which you're not supposed to do when you're on lithium, especially because I couldn't stay awake to take care of my child, and it bothered me personally. Okay, so I don't think, and plus the doctor is not going to know what type of reaction you have unless you let them know. Like, you have to be honest with them and tell them the reactions you're having. And it doesn't, these medications have different effects on different people, so I don't necessarily think maybe the doctor should be reviewed. I think she should have taken into consideration her health and how she was reacting to the medication and maybe said something herself or stopped taking it.
Yeah, and like bipolar medications, they will make you very, like lithium. I took lithium for a while.
Yeah.
For like I couldn't take it. I took it for like 3 days and I had like bad reactions to it. I had to stop. But
Yep.
like because I took several different medications for bipolar because I was misdiagnosed. They do make you into a zombie, like, you know.
Yep.
And in one of these conversations, somebody said like, oh, or maybe it was another video, another channel. I remember like she has it's not that she doesn't care about Maddie. She just has a very flat affect. Like it could be medication, and it could be medication because medication will make you like into a zombie. Like you don't feel anything. You're kind of, which is terrible, right? Because like if you're like depressed or anxious or some problem, like you feel horrible, but then the medication kind of numbs you, and then you're just like apathetic, so you don't give a damn about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But what we see here is not medication because she perks up when talking about everything else but Maddie.
Right.
You know, if
Absolutely.
she was apathetic because of Medicaid, because I've been there, I can talk. I know how I stopped taking after a few years, and I told my doctor, I'm like, I'm not taking this stuff anymore because I turned into a zombie. Like I didn't care about anything. I didn't feel happy. You don't feel anything. You don't feel happy. You don't feel
Right.
sad. You know. So, but what? So yeah, of course, people are different. People can react in different ways. But like, no, everybody grieves the same. If you lose your child, you will grieve, unless
Yep.
you know, if you lose your wife or your husband or your parent or your daughter or your child or whatever, your dog, your cat, your rabbit, your ant, your lizard, you grieve.
Yeah.
You might grieve in a different way, but you will be grieving. And she
Mm-hmm.
is never grieving. She
Right.
was like Chris Watts. Chris Watts was like freaking smirking. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're missing. I don't know where they are. You know, and this one over here,
Right.
you know, and this one over here, okay, I want to punch her face. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, because it's not just this flat affect because the medication is making her this way.
Yep.
You
But
know,
she
like
plays it off like it is.
yeah, because she's real excited about, like I said, the other this one not so much because this one she knows it's in trouble, so she's all being like, I don't know, all mumbling because now she knows that she's in trouble, so she's
Yep.
different. But in that video interview, she's all glib and stuff. The one where she's riding in the car, she's like joking. She's being taken to the police station, and it's like she's going along for like a joyride. La di
Yep.
da, you know.
Yep.
I'm not going to the police station because my kid's missing.
Right.
Dude, I left my cat in the house the other day. Because I live with my parents, like in a detached house, like on the property.
Uh-huh.
But my cat is not like an outdoor cat. She just stays in the yard and whatever. But she goes to my mom's house. She was
Uh-huh.
in my mom's house. She was sleeping in the chair, and I'm calling and calling and calling. 3 minutes, I was already like hyperventilating. I'm kind of, you can tell I'm dramatic, but you know.
You're
People thought
good.
that I'm dramatic because like some people are more chill, and I wish I was chill, but I'm not chill. And I was calling my cat, and I'm like, Mom, I can't find her. I'm already like hyperventilating. I am like crying, and I'm like, Stella, calling her. And because I used to have a cat when she would answer when you would call, but this one doesn't. And
Uh-huh.
5 minutes later, we find her in. I was already crying. Look, your daughter. It doesn't matter if your daughter was kidnapped or she ran away.
Right.
Whatever it is, it's the worst thing that could have happened. This kinky empanada.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, if your daughter ran away, it's the worst thing that could have happened. If she was kidnapped, it's the worst thing that could have happened. And this potato over here, she's like, oh yeah, so I need like my meds, I need my sleep, and like me. How can you sleep? She never went looking for her.
Right.
She doesn't even know how to pretend to be a good mother.
Right. Exactly.
So this is not this is for the people that want to like kind of. I understand you want to be like, well, maybe it's because of meds. And no, I don't think anybody mentioned this here today, but it was mentioned before. Like, no, her behavior here is not medication. And I'm speaking from someone who has taken all of the medications like for bipolar.
Yeah.
I've cycled through them all and other ones.
Yeah.
And while they do turn you into a zombie, and yes, some of them, I had to stop taking quite a few because I couldn't work because I was so sleepy.
Yeah.
One time I said to my boss, I gotta take a nap because this new medication, I can't keep my eyes open. She literally said, all right, go lay down. I was working at a diagnostic center. She's like, go lay down in the MRI room because we don't have a patient right now and sleep for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
you know
Yep.
so it's not the medication that's making her this way. I understand her medication is important, yes. Does she need sleep? We all do. I'll give her that, but she's
But
using
not.
this as an excuse.
Yeah. Exactly.
You don't see if your kid went up. You didn't see her get up. You didn't see if she you don't know what she was wearing. You didn't see her say goodbye in the morning. You didn't see her in the morning. First, Madeline is this giant baby who needs to be watched at all times because she can't even brush her teeth by herself. The next minute, you don't see her go to bed. You don't see her get up in the morning. You don't see her get dressed. Like, make up your mind, Jen.
Right. Somebody said, wouldn't the school call? I think it was Ashley who came in. The school would call, but a lot of times, unfortunately, it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I have a problem with that. I've said before, I think that all students should go to homeroom first thing before they start actual classes. And all they would have to do is take attendance in homeroom and then take that list to the office and have the office go through the list and start calling parents. You'd be done by 12
Yeah,
o'clock at the latest. And
that's
they
messed up. Yeah. I grew up in Massachusetts, and like if you were absent, like I think school started like 8. Homeroom was like 8 to 8:20 or whatever. It was just for
Mhm.
attendance. By like 8:30 or 8:40, they would be calling the parents. It was like really early.
Yep.
Because I remember like a couple times my mom let me stay home or whatever. Um, and I remember hearing the message in the morning in the answer machine, like, hey, we're calling because your daughters didn't come to school today. So like that's the school's fault. Who tells the parent at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Oh yeah, so your kid didn't show up today.
Yeah, and when I was in school, it was during the day too. But when my kids were in regular school, it'd be like 3 or 4 in the afternoon because I remember they would be homesick, and I'd be like, "Why is it so late?" And somebody was asking about lithium. Lithium is not a sedative; it's a mood stabilizer, or an anti-manic type of
Yeah, it's a mood
medication.
stabilizer.
Yeah, a mood stabilizer. It's not supposed to sedate you, but a lot of time mood stabilizers will sedate you. And that
The
was
one that
the
she takes has sedative.
yeah. And she does take
Geodon or
sedative.
whatever. The other ones. I don't think she's on lithium. I don't remember her saying she was ever on lithium, but
No,
she was like on Geodon and something else. And yeah, they can make you super sleepy.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know specifically that she's on lithium. That's just something that I had taken and could reference. Me too, Brenda.
Wearing, what he's doing, his demeanor, what's going on.
Oh no.
I can't recall what he's wearing. It might be a red shirt with a graphic on it.
Okay.
That was what he was wearing to begin with. Then from from what I've been told, he was in a white shirt when we listened to the Sunco interview from Brittany, and then we saw him in a brown or tan shirt, a blue or tan shirt. I think it was blue in the interrogation. Hey, Jackie.
He's sitting in my bedroom on my desk.
Prior to you getting there, he's in your room, or is that where you guys go to talk?
That he was hanging out there in my room.
Okay.
My room is kind of like the general hangout spot.
Okay.
Your point, Jackie, it's a very good point. Controversial, but a very good point. I agree.
I walk into my room. He's sitting there on the computer chair. He's talking, acting normal, asking about the morning and how everything went, and that he let me know the errands that he ran that morning or what he was up to.
And what did he say he was up to?
He said he had dropped Maddie off at school and then afterwards went to a vape shop so he can buy vaping things.
Okay.
But that the store wasn't open, so he waited a long time for them to open. They never did. So he drove around, killed time, and then eventually made it back to my house at like 10:20. When later on, when I got home and he was home, we started discussing, or he started telling me that he was going to go back out to run a few more errands in a little bit down 192. And he gave me the name of a few stores that he might stop at. And I'm like, okay. I asked him if he wanted to meet me at my house by 2:30 so that we can go pick up Maddie from school together. And he said, yeah, he'll be back by 2:30. And I said, okay.
So was that the plan, to get her together, or was it ever discussed that he would get her alone?
The plan was for us to get her together.
Okay. All right. And so does he leave before you leave?
Actually, before this, while we were still discussing, while we were having the conversation in my room, he did mention at one point, while he was sitting there, that he had to reboot his phone, or that he had to update his phone.
Mm-hmm.
She said in the police interview that she did that, like, they were discussing him doing a master reset on his phone, and then she stops herself and says, I mean an update. Like, I mean, again, that told me everything I needed to know. It was just another piece to the puzzle. I think they absolutely were talking about master resetting the phone, and I would love to know if Jen's phone had happened to get master reset mysteriously as well. I think that they thought they were going to be able to get rid of it and the police wouldn't find it. Lisa is me said my kid's school would ask the sibling why they weren't at school. If she was there, ask him if he was there and ask her. And if they both were absent, then call. Yeah, my kid's school would ask the sibling if they were sick, if one of them was sick or something, and they would still call me. But I remember the kids telling me that the teachers would ask if one of them was absent because one of them was sick. Yeah, the Tamagotchis, Veronica. Yeah, that's weird.
And what was it? He had to update his phone. So I told him, stop avoiding it, do it. Like, updates take a while. Like, do it. And while he was updating his phone, he said, I don't know what I did, but I just factory reset my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's weird. I didn't know that you could do that. He said, yeah, a button popped up and I pressed it and it just reset my entire phone. And I'm like, oh, that's.
Do you see how it's a script? It's the exact words that she uses every time.
So does he leave?
Yeah. It is.
It's the exact same words.
Yep. Absolutely.
Before you do, to go do these errands he was telling you about?
Yes, he does leave.
Do you stay at home until it's time to go get Madeline?
Yes.
Do you hear anything from Stefan while he's out doing these errands?
No.
Okay. So 2:30 rolls around. Is Stefan back home yet?
No. At this point, I leave.
Do you try and call him or text him or communicate with him?
Yeah, I had been calling him like maybe starting 15 minutes before I was supposed to leave just to see where he was.
Did he answer?
No. I leave at 2:30.
So that's the first time I've heard that she had tried to call him. I think he said he called her. I can't remember exactly. I'll have to look it up.
In the other interview, she said that he called her, and then 2 seconds later, she's like, "Oh, but he said that he forgot his phone."
Yeah, good point. Yep,
She said he forgot
absolutely.
his phone, and then like 2 seconds later, she's like, "Oh yeah, we were talking on the phone."
Yep,
While he's out and about killing time, going to all the card stores and Target and whatever, you know.
yep, 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 absolutely. Flora,
And
I'm
we know
so
he didn't
sorry.
forget his phone.
No, I think he left his phone at home, but yeah, I wondered that as well. Because the police talk about him leaving his phone at home and Jen never finding it weird. And I think he might have left his phone, but they do reference calling each other while they're supposed to not have a phone. Hey, Juliet. That's a beautiful name. I almost named my daughter Juliet.
Around 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from him. And he said, "I'm so sorry. I left my phone at home again on accident."
I was about to say, wait a minute. Okay, but she's saying he came home, grabbed his phone and called her and said, I left my phone at home.
I was driving down 192 and my tire exploded or shredded, and I had to pull over into one of the plazas and change my tire. He said he hurt his thumb doing that. Okay. And that, he was late and didn't make it back on time for that reason.
All right. When you leave to go pick Madeline up at 2:30, do you take her phone with you?
I do.
And how is it that you come to get her phone to go with you?
At some point in the morning, I was organizing and putting things away, and I walked into her bedroom and I saw her phone on her dresser. And I just assumed, oh, she must have left it here while getting dressed and forgot it.
Okay. Was it on?
Yes.
And sometimes.
Yes. Eddie, this is the interview where she has limited immunity.
When you bump or move phones, the notification screen comes up. Mm-hmm. Did you happen to do that? And did you see if there's any incoming notifications that she had missed?
I hadn't seen any. No.
Okay. All right. So you go to school, and due to time constraints, like an NFL football game, we're going to kind of jump ahead a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
My understanding is that you want to be first in line, mm-hmm. and you have to get there early to do that, and I understand.
Please consider hitting that thumbs up so we get out into the algorithm and more people can come hang out with the Speculating family. Thank you so much.
Yeah. She doesn't come out.
She doesn't know.
Did you call her phone?
I did.
Why did you do that?
Because I forgot I had it with me. I was like, where is she? Why isn't she out yet? So I start calling her phone, and then I start realizing I'm hearing vibrating, and then I look down, and I see her phone's with me. I'm like, oh,
okay. How
am I going to get a hold of her? Because I'm the first in line. The cars behind me already have children. They're full.
You're absolutely right, Flora W. Flora W says, note the crisp answers when she knows what is truth. And she does. She perks right up. And when she's talking about Stefan and she's not real low and mumbled like this, when she's telling the truth about a situation, like she called the phone because she forgot it was in the car, like any of us probably would do in that situation. She's real crisp, she's accurate, she's alert, she's not pausing, her voice is higher, happier. Yeah. And thank you for pointing that out.
Well, they're waiting for me to leave.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of jump ahead. Did Madeline ever complain to you about believing that Stefan had taken her Christmas money?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Christmas money went missing. And we were both, I don't even know how to say this. We had collected all of her envelopes with Christmas money.
Robert said the truth usually comes out easily. When it's a lie, we tend to stutter. Yep. Shaboogies, I can't figure out how to do the polls. I still need to contact YouTube and find out why I can't access my live from my phone while I'm live. And that's how you supposedly do polls and give out free memberships. I'm supposed to have like 5 free memberships a month to give out. So I've really got to figure that stuff out. All things serious smells to BS, just like Inspector BS over there on the screen does. Toxic, our comments are very specific to this monster. None other. Nothing wrong with liking those things, says Veronica. Yep. Absolutely. Basil smells it too. He does. He smells it oozing from the computer screen here. He's laying down now. He was just eating.
And consolidated into one. I'll put all her money into one.
Yeah.
And then I said, I will put this somewhere safe. And I thought I had put it in my nightstand. A few days later comes around, whatever. We start looking for it or asking for it or something like that, and we can't find it. We can't find it at all.
So let me just narrow it down. Did she accuse Stefan of taking it?
I'm not sure if she did directly. We both had the suspicion, but we're like, no, could he have? No, I don't think so. But I eventually found that money.
Okay, how did the mystery end? All right, so you just started this job at Disney Coronado Springs like a week or two earlier, is that right?
Yes.
And your sister and other family members would help with Maddie getting to school because of your job?
Yes, my mom and my sister, yes.
Okay. Why is it that now Stefan on February 26th is coming up to help as opposed to any of your family members helping getting Madeline to school?
I had asked for him to come and help me because I think I was working a lot of night shifts or like really late shifts. And I just wanted the opportunity to see Maddie, because I wanted to spend more time with my daughter throughout the week while I was working, versus had she had stayed at my mom's, I wouldn't have seen her all week.
Okay.
Bullshit.
So that was just me wanting to see her and spend time with her.
Did Madeline stay?
Yep, I agree. I had to grab my anxiety supplement. So what's your
We
thoughts?
hear this, we're all getting anxious. No, I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yep.
You know?
Had to go get my adaptive.
Oh, I need to spend more time with my daughter. You can't stand your daughter. You can't say
Right.
one nice thing about your daughter. You don't
Yep.
even want to sleep in the same bed as your daughter because she kicks and punches. Or,
Yep.
because she breathes too loud or something. Oh,
Yeah, I was trying to hear her excuse for that, but I didn't quite catch all of it. I'm going to back it up a little bit.
Sister and other family members would help with Maddie getting to school because of your job?
Yes, my mom and my sister, yes.
Okay. Why is it that now
Hey, Paranormal, thank you for being here. I hope you're feeling good today.
Stefan on February 26th is coming up to help as opposed to any of your family members helping getting Madeline to school?
I had asked for him to come and help me because I think I was working a lot of night shifts or like really late shifts. And I just wanted the opportunity to see Maddie, because I wanted to spend more time with my daughter throughout the week while I was working, versus had she had stayed at my mom's, I wouldn't have seen her all week.
Okay.
So that was just me wanting to see her and spend time with her.
Did Madeline?
Okay. By this time, it's April, okay? Everything happened the end of February, beginning of March. She has thought about her answers for these questions and come up with the story she's going to tell, because that doesn't make sense at all. Like, you would take your medicine and go to bed. I don't even think she saw Maddie at all. And you broke up with this man in December, okay? If we take what the teachers and counselors said and everybody at the school and the friend, they all say that Maddie was happier and doing better during the time period that Stefan was gone. Okay. There's a reason you want him back there. Like, there's something else. That's not the reason. And by the way she talks about Maddie and what we can get from all of the things she says about her, especially when she talks about Maddie with such disdain, in my opinion, I don't think she liked her at all. I think she was jealous of her daughter. She never has anything nice to say about her.
Madeline stay at your mom's house fairly frequently?
Every few weekends here and there, like just for the weekend kind of thing.
So like if she described it to her friends as like her second home and like kind of offer up it's better jacuzzi and pool, does that sound like that's the place?
Yes.
Where does Madeline sleep when she's over at your mom's?
She will sleep in bed with my mom.
Okay. Did she ever have sleepovers? Like have friends come over and sleep over?
Slumber parties, no.
Did she ever go and attend any?
No.
Is there any particular reason? I mean, she's a 12-year-old girl on the cusp of being 13.
Yeah, I've been very uncomfortable with sleepovers just because I know what can happen. Anything can happen in a sleepover.
Yet, when you're sitting on a couch with each other the very first time, per her statement, they asked to go upstairs in a room to be by themselves because they want to snack and watch a movie instead of being in the living room where everybody could see them. And you don't find that weird? You don't find it weird that this man is FaceTiming your child alone? The parents, the police reference that there was a lot of text messages between Stefan and Maddie. I mean, the Woody Allen comment, the way she consoles him in the news interview, it all tells me that, sending them to bed, sending the kids to bed, you were the adult in the house and they were your children. And you don't find anything wrong with that. You won't let her go to a sleepover because you're worried about something happening, but yet you let it happen under your roof and claim to have no knowledge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Go to sleep together in a room upstairs. The room that has 2 locks and a door. Room that has 2 locks and a door, and the buddy over here, stinky buddy, has a gun.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of sleepover is perfectly fine.
Yep. But not a sleepover with friends. Stop. Yeah.
All of our blood pressure is collectively going up.
Yep. Bad girl said you worried about a sleepover, but let Stephen Stern sleep and cuddle with your child for F's sakes.
Well, then you can be the host house like we kind of were. You never hosted any sleepovers for her friends?
For her friends, no.
Did she ask about it?
Yeah, she did ask.
Was it probably a source of contention or arguments?
It was, I guess what was the source of argument was her and she wanted to really sleep over her best friend's house. And I just kept saying, no, you never know what could happen. I don't know the dad. I don't know the brother. I don't know anybody there. Like, I don't know what could happen to you. So
I think it was because she knew what was going on in her house between Maddie and Stefan, and she was probably worried that if Maddie got away from her or alone, Maddie might say something.
Yeah. And thank God she never let, any of her friends come sleep over, because who knows what that stinky would have done to the other girls.
Oh, God. With the fold under the door?
Yeah, or worse. There was that story about that guy that spiked his daughter. Oh my God, I just saw it again the other day. His daughter had a sleepover and they were all 11, 12, 13. They're all the same age as Maddie. And he made smoothies for all the girls, and he put sleeping pills. He put benzos in those smoothies for the girls. And one of the girls noticed it tasted weird, and then she called, and that girl was a hero. And he was trying to dope up the girls.
Yep.
So can you imagine this guy over here who so many sleeping pills all over the place, and we know that he was dosing Maddie, because Jenna admitted it twice.
Yeah.
He would give her pills at least twice. They even had to call poison control because of it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm sure that I'm sure this girl was being drugged. Yeah. Can you imagine if she has her little friends over and that dumbass just happens to be there that day because he's a freaking perv? What could have? Thank God she didn't let any sleepovers in that sense. But at least it didn't happen to the other girls. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, sure, go to the second floor and sleep in a room with 2 locks on the door, and a video camera with a tripod and a gun. Yeah, sure, go ahead. That's perfectly fine.
Yep. Ridiculous. Paranormal.
Yeah, exactly. Toxic.
Paranormal.
Sorry.
What'd you say? No, you're good, Cozy.
No,
I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say what Toxic said. Jen couldn't host sleepovers because she couldn't be bothered to be responsible for other. Yeah, exactly. Also, thank God. The
Yeah.
only good thing to come out of this.
Yep. Paranormal Rooster said she let it happen in her home because she could control the situation. If it happened at someone else's house, not only couldn't she deny it, but it may open a door to Stefan. Yep. Toxic said no, she didn't host sleepovers because Jen couldn't be bothered about being responsible and have her own sleep disrupted. That's also a good point. Juliet said, as a lucky mom of 5 boys, when my youngest being 2 years old, I made it a point to stop sleeping with all of them by the age of 6. And most of us do. My kids were out of the bed by the age of 6.
And did you
And
notice
my
that
babies.
I'm sorry, finish. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, my babies, all of them slept in the bed with me until, at a young age. But then, you stop that shit.
And did you notice that, like, Maddie, she didn't have any privacy. She could never even sleep by herself, right? Because she had a bed in the living room in that nook with zero privacy.
Yep.
And I guess she never slept there because she was always sleeping in the bed with Jen. And then when she goes to visit her father, and I don't think her father was like being pervy or anything, but he did say that like they tried to make like a Maddie sandwich, like when she went to visit her father, Tyler.
Yeah. I found that
And
weird.
then I didn't think it's kind of weird because she's a big girl, but at one point I guess I kind of get it because they're like, oh, let's make a Maddie sandwich, like, I think maybe trying to like get closer to Maddie. And I don't think he did it in a pervy sense. I don't
Yeah,
get
I
that
don't
pervy
either.
vibe from him. But it's weird because she's like a big girl now. I think like she's kind of too big for that. If it was like a 2 or a 3-year-old, like let's make a Maddie sandwich. But anyways, I'm like, there's this constant theme. And then when she sleeps over grandma's house that has a pool, so I guess it's not like a tiny house, a super tiny house that has a pool. I mean, even at her, I don't know the situation. I don't know if the grandmother is married again or something, because I know she's like the parents are divorced. The grandfather doesn't live there. But again, when she sleeps over grandma's house, she sleeps in bed with the grandmother.
Yeah.
And then Stinky's like, oh, I have to go home because Maddie can't sleep by herself. She needs human warmth. Like he's just
Yeah.
saying that because he's a monster. But I'm like, dude, did Maddie really absolutely need to sleep with somebody? She was absolutely incapable of sleeping by herself. Like maybe she would get like super, because we know she had anxiety,
Yeah.
probably because of trauma, because of the abuse. But I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, exactly. She slept with Mrs. Stearns too. So I'm thinking,
She thinks it's normal, and they've convinced her that that's what she needs. And the Maddie sandwich comment, I wonder if it's something that she suggested to her dad, and her dad was like, yeah, we can make a Maddie sandwich, because he referenced her being like a character from the show Euphoria as well. Really sad.
yeah, which was really telling,
Yeah.
you
So I
know?
wonder, taking into consideration, like you said, she sleeps with her grandma, she sleep with Miss Stearns at Stefan's house. I'm wondering if they had her convinced basically that she couldn't sleep by herself and she really needed human contact or to be with somebody, or she would get anxious and she would have nightmares, or told her for whatever reason and made it so normal that she made it normal at other places and actually believed what she was being told. Oh, I can't sleep by myself. I'll have nightmares. I'll have
Yeah.
anxiety. I can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, we know that we don't know. We can imagine that a lot of the abuse was happening right there in the bed with Potato right next to them. Because he
Yeah,
would sleep in boxers. First of all, an adult man doesn't need to be with a child in the same bed
right.
unless you're so poor that the entire family sleeps together, like in Willy Wonka. Like they're all in the same bed together, like even the grandpa. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But like in real life, an adult doesn't need to be sleeping with a child in the same bed, unless, of course, super, terrible situation, like you got it, whatever. But in a normal circumstances, and then he would wear boxers, and
yeah,
then he would come out of the bathroom. He would take a shower in Jen's bathroom. Like, and she's like, restroom is in the airport, dummy. In your house, it's called the bathroom. Your
Right.
house is not a restroom. That pisses me off too. And he would, was it her that said it, or he told his friends with benefits, whatever, that he would come out of the bathroom knowing that Maddie was on the bed right there, and he would come out naked. So she saw him naked. She was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oops, I'm naked."
Yeah.
And he would sleep in boxers. And then he told that girl that broke up with him because he was so disgusting and perv. And he told her, like, "Oh yeah, so I sleep in bed with Maddie and like in my boxers, and I have to turn around because I would get like a Woody."
Yep. Hey, Lisa Lee.
So I'm sure this guy, is sleeping right there, and maybe that's how it all started.
Yeah. Yep.
Just afraid of her getting assaulted.
Okay. Did Madeline do her own laundry?
Yeah.
Did she cook for herself?
I was teaching her how to make a few things, so I mean, yeah, she could, I guess.
Okay. What's her normal routine for getting ready for bed?
That's her day.
We give her her meds.
I'm sorry, take your time.
RL Froze. I wanted to say hey to you. I said it in the comments, but I wanted to say your name. Hey, RL Froze, and thank you for being here.
We get ready for bed. I'd give her her medication. She would get in the shower.
Take a long shower, I understand.
Like an hour plus. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Rubber, for being here. I hope you have a good day. And Zaya, Hio, I know that you had to leave, but if you hear me, thank you for being here.
She loved it. She'd get out. She'd get dressed. She'd let her hair towel dry for a while, and then she would brush it. We would watch some TV. She'd probably have a snack before bed as well.
Okay. What were kind of her nighttime uniforms? I mean, everybody kind of has their pajamas, but they're not necessarily pajamas. What was her routine nightwear?
She really liked wearing shorts. So she had a few pajama outfits, but she really liked wearing shorts and baggy t-shirts.
Okay. How about her routine getting ready for school in the morning? What's that about?
We'd wake up. The alarm would start ringing around 7:30. We'd snooze it up until 8 o'clock. Then she'd get up. She'd get dressed. And then she'd lay back down in bed while she would wait for me to make her breakfast.
So she's a breakfast eater?
Yes.
Okay.
She'd have breakfast. Then she would start, with brushing her hair, brushing her teeth, putting on makeup. At night, I would give her ADHD medications for school.
Is that every day or just school days? So it's
But the friend said she had not taken her medicine since February 14th, Valentine's Day, and there was a heart on her dresser, like a Valentine chocolates, that really upset me. I was hoping to God that it wasn't from Stefan. But you watch her take her meds every morning and every night before school, yet she hadn't taken her meds since February 14th. Again, I mean, we can prove your lies, ma'am.
It sounds like you're heading out like 8:45 or 9.
Yes.
And it takes like, what'd you say, 15, 20 minutes to get to school?
Yes.
And first bell's 9:38?
9:20.
Something like that?
9:20,
Okay.
yeah.
So on Monday the 26th, 7:30 seems like a really early time to depart to go to middle school, even if you're getting Mickey D's. What was the discussion about when Stefan and Madeline were going to leave on the 26th?
There wasn't one.
So you didn't know anything about these plans, or did you? Or
I knew that they were gonna go to McDonald's, but not 7 o'clock in the morning. That wasn't.
But yet you got up every morning and gave her breakfast. Like, I was thinking, okay, well, she didn't get up that morning and make her breakfast because Stefan had told her she was going to McDonald's. But now you're claiming you didn't really know about it, but you did. Then you fixed that with I did know about it. I'm going to play that back for us one more time real quick, because that was an odd statement. Taking into consideration that she claims to have fixed her breakfast every morning. I was about to say her basil because I was reading Veronica's comment. I just gave him some popcorn. He's laying down though.
so it sounds like you're heading out like 8:45 or 9.
Yes.
And it takes like, what did you say, 15, 20 minutes to get to school?
Yes.
And first bell's 9:38?
9:20.
Something like that?
9:20,
Okay.
yeah.
So on Monday the 26th, 7:30 seems like a really early time to depart to go to middle school, even if you're getting Mickey D's. What was the discussion about when Stefan and Madeline were going to leave on the 26th?
There wasn't one.
So you didn't know anything about these plans, or did you? Or
There wasn't a discussion about it, yet you know she's supposed to have McDonald's, and you're not getting up to make her breakfast, even though you do that every day. You're not getting up to give her medicine because we know from the best friend that she hadn't taken it since February 14th. Like, again, I'm just proving your lies. And Jenny, that's really sweet. I hope that your niece has a good day or evening.
I knew that they were gonna go to McDonald's, but not 7 o'clock in the morning. That wasn't.
Okay.
I had assumed like 8 o'clock.
And-
But even then, 8 o'clock is kind of early, like 8:30, because you could.
But he's in the room to supposedly walk the dog before 7:30. And that wasn't normal either. And you still suspected nothing. Flat tire, phone reset, not okay, just another day.
Just go to McDonald's, be done by 9, and then drop her off at school. But the McDonald's is right the block away from the school. So
and Madeline's not driving, so she can eat while she's riding.
Yeah. So I
And she
don't.
takes about an hour to get ready in the morning?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
So if they were leaving at 7:30, you'd think she'd have to get up at 6:30 to get ready and go through a routine, right?
Yeah.
Hey Jane, thank you for being here. Jane says they are in this together. Great acting, Jen. You are sick. I agree.
Extremely early.
And is that what Stefan told you after these events unfolded? Was that they left early, like 7:30? What did he ever tell you?
It was early. I can't remember the time. I think I dropped her off in front of her school sometime between 8:15 and 8:45.
You say I. What do you mean by that? Did you drop her off that
No,
morning?
I'm speaking. Sorry.
Okay.
As what Stefan was telling me. Stefan let me know that he dropped her off sometime between 8:15 and 8:45 on the road by the church close to her school.
Mhm.
And I remember asking him, why so early? That's too early. School doesn't start until 9:30. Why did you drop her off that early? Oh, I don't know. We just left the house and made good time. I wasn't paying attention to the clock.
Okay. Did Madeline ever have like effects from taking the hydroxyzine in the morning? Like still be kind of sluggish?
Yes.
How often would that occur? Was that like every morning or not every morning?
Not every morning. If we happen to give her medication later than normal and routine, that would happen. But
Okay.
Hey Meemaw, thank you for being here. Abellis, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. If you guys were gifted a membership from Abellis, please tell her thank you. You are so sweet and supportive. Thank you so much. Hey Synth, I'll play her clip real quick. Thank you, Abellis, for being so supportive. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Wanted to see Synth said, an hour-long shower. Oh, goodness. Okay. Lisa Lee said people might not like to hear this, but in my opinion, Jen is a pedophile like the pig. There's speculation that she knew something or she was involved or that she at least knew something. Thank you, Abellis. That was super sweet of you.
Okay. And were there ever any instances where she had taken too much of the medicine? Perhaps you and Stefan had given her medicine, not knowing that the other person had?
Yes, that's happened once
How many?
before.
Just once or more?
I want to say once.
Okay. Were you taking medicinal marijuana in pill form at any point?
But you watched her take her medicine? Like, how is that happening? I think it happened more than once. If we talk about the poison control thing, I mean, are you saying that that's the only time it happened? Because I don't think so. I mean, but again, we know she wasn't taking them since February 14th.
For THC?
Yes.
And what do those pills or tablets or capsules look like?
They're purple capsules.
Did you ever suspect or confront Stefan about giving those medications to Madeline?
No.
So during this incident where Madeline had been double dosed with hydroxyzine, do you recall any conversation you had with Stefan and inquiring as to whether or not he had accidentally given her any of your THC?
Why are we asking if Maddie had THC? Was it found in her system? I have questions. Since that, I'm also starting to think there's an element of what happened to Giselle in France, where her husband had assaulted her for 10 years while she was on substances, or while he gave her substances. What do you think? I think that it happened with Maddie for sure, but I don't know. I don't know about Jen. I doubt it, because he wasn't attracted to women his own age. And we learned that from the ex-girlfriend. I don't think he could have performed. He didn't want Jen from the beginning. I mean, he got with Jen because of Maddie, in my opinion.
That had occurred to me. I had asked him.
Now by this time she's gotten the toxicology report back for Maddie. Like, they've gotten the toxicology report and autopsy report, because remember, this is in April 19th, I do believe. So why are they asking specifically about Stefan giving Maddie THC?
He got the one morning Maddie wouldn't wake up and get ready for school, and she was just out of it.
Kalisa said text messages from Jen because Maddie told her Stefan gave her purple pills. Oh, wow. Since said, but if he was doing it with Madeline, would not know. Yeah, I don't know if Madeline knew. I think he might have thought Madeline didn't know. But then again, I go back to, in her notebook, she drew graphic pictures of what was happening to her. And then the parent coins, and then the Woody Allen comment, and so I think she was aware of at least some of it. Even if she was drugged.
I assumed it was medication related, but I didn't really. I'm like, did this one medication hit her too hard because we gave it to her late? I called poison control. I needed to see what would happen.
Okay, so that's the poison control comment, and now we have proof that it is accurate.
Because at this point, I think I had gotten Stefan to admit that he gave her a second dose of the sleeping meds as well, because he thought I had given it to her in the first place.
Okay.
But that was with hydroxyzine. I didn't know anything about THC, the marijuana.
I'm just asking you.
Oh.
I'm asking if you remember having that conversation.
So, if we take into account what Khalees said about text messages saying that Stefan had given her purple pills, and the purple pills were the THC, and she's saying she don't know anything about it, we're proving that she's lying in this immunity interview. There
is a conversation on your phone about you you were relaying that Madeline said that she suspected that it was different, bigger pills, and you relayed that to Stefan and had a conversation with him. And if you don't remember it because it was a year ago, that's fine.
I wish you wouldn't say that, because now you're giving her an out that she's definitely going to use.
My next question is, you have 2 female roommates,
Yes.
and one of them has a child, a son that sleeps part-time over there.
Yes.
And so my understanding is they're kind of, it's like a, I don't know what to call it, like a bed and breakfast. There's numbers on the doors upstairs.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, to make it easier for the roommates, I just labeled each bedroom.
So they're in 2 and 3.
Yes.
All right. Now, bedroom number 4. At one point, you told the police that your sister was staying with you, and that's why the sleeping arrangements were as they were. Was your sister ever staying with you, or did I misunderstand what you said?
No, my sister wasn't staying with me.
Okay. So let me ask you this. At what point did Madeline's bedroom kind of become the living room? When did that setup start?
I think as soon as a few months into us moving back into that townhouse.
Hey Edith, I'm gonna have to go because I've been on for about 3 hours and I still have to do dinner and stuff. So we'll back it up a little bit and then we'll start to where we can refresh that tomorrow. I just had my husband come in because he's off work and remind me of some things I have to do. So I am gonna have to get off of here for today. And I apologize about having to leave so abruptly, but I do want to thank you guys for being here. And I want to thank you, Cozy, for coming up. I hope you can come up
Thanks for letting me.
tomorrow. Yeah, can you come up? Well, you know, if you feel like coming up tomorrow, please do, because I really enjoy
I think
having
so.
you up here. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's fun. It's fun to get angry with anybody.
Yeah, I really enjoyed having you up here. She does seem
Thanks.
completely unbothered. I appreciate your... Oh, Cozy, you left. But if you hear me, I appreciate your input. You're very smart. You know the case. You're animated and your feelings are definitely justified. I think we're all at that point with this in this case. Thank you guys for being here. Everybody's giving hearts. Eek, I hope I can see you tomorrow. I know that sometimes you're working, so you're not able to come in. But we love you and we've been missing you. If you can make it, that would be great. If not, I will talk to you in the Discord. You guys can come hang out on Discord. I'm usually in there talking. There's a lot of people in there talking most of the time. Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. And I hope y'all have a good day. And I hope y'all can come back tomorrow and we'll continue this interview and probably go over some other ones. I try to stay on about 3 hours and I'm at that limit now. So time for me to go get the cooking dinner. And I also want to put in a couple FOIA requests. So with that, I will see you tomorrow. Much love, hugs, and admiration for you all from the Speculating family. And thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you watch the replay, thank you for that. You guys are what makes this channel great, right? Because I could sit here and talk all day, but without any interaction from you, if nobody's listening, you know, I'm just another person talking to myself. So I want you to know that I love and appreciate every single one of you. And you guys are what makes this channel great. And thank you for that. From the bottom of my heart, I mean that with every fiber of my being. Thank you guys for being here and telling me your thoughts, opinions, and speculations and being so supportive. I really enjoy our time together every day. And I hope y'all have the best day ever. So bye for now, but I'll be back tomorrow.